Edmonton Sports Talk. My God, I love this.
My name's Jay Milne. Hashtag Blue Crew.
Our sports update deliverer. The Coon.
I'm Zachary Duvish. You're up today. You know what? Read your mic for myself.
All right, here's what's going on in the net. Well, good afternoon, Nasties. Hope you're doing well. The Edmonton Oilers certainly are. Another victory over the Seattle Kraken last night. The Oilers with an optional skate today. Stuart Skinner was back on the ice as he is the father of a newborn son. He missed last night's game. Tyler Palmer backed up Calvin Pickard. By the way, Tyler Palmer from the U of A Golden Bears is going to join us at around 5 this afternoon, so be there for that interview about his day as a temporary member of your Edmonton Oilers. We have a really interesting story coming up to a couple of guys for The Athletic wrote a story, and we referenced this a bit yesterday, and we got one of the writers on, and he's going to join us in about 40 minutes. It's about cannabis use in the NHL, alcohol use, playing video games, spending time with your teammates or not spending time with your teammates. Gage and Hernan talked about this a little bit as well, but we have one of the guys who wrote the piece, Dan Robson, and we want to dive into this a little bit and go a little bit more behind the scenes for their findings and what they took out of it. So that's all coming up throughout the afternoon. Plenty of Oilers discussion. I'm going to have a question for you, especially those of you who still seem to be somewhat unhappy or at the very least worried about the plight of the Edmonton Oilers. I'm going to have a very specific question for you in a few minutes. And really cool, Jay Milne is here as well. Reid Wilkins Show with Jay Milne. We have a dog here today,
yes,
which has really boosted the spirits around the office, I have found.
Boone Gage?
Boone Gage is here.
Now, he is out for a walk right now, currently.
Right.
Gager had to take him out. He's going to be attending the staff meeting later, and that should be interesting. See if he has any opinions.
Boone's going to be at the staff meeting.
He will.
That'll be incredible.
Rest assured, he's one of the nasties. I don't know how much he chimes in, but his opinion will be recognized tonight.
All right. So now, when you were at Yvonne's Furniture, were dogs allowed in the workplace? Like what if a salesperson said, "I need to have my dog here today"?
Yeah, knock yourself out.
Really? Like, could he wander around and help sell? He'd have to stay in the back.
Yeah. We had a warehouse in the back, so there would be plenty of room and space for a dog bed, dog dish, all the things your dog needs, just not... Because I could care less. I'm a dog guy. I love dogs.
So are you what?
I couldn't... Goof up.
Oh, so I thought you were going to get mad at me.
No.
Hernan's laughing.
I couldn't care less.
Thank you.
Hang on, let me record my goof up. We haven't had many goof ups lately.
Well, we haven't always been pointing them out. I had a pretty big one last week when I said Phil Bork instead of Ray Bork.
True.
Though Phil's been on this show, Ray hasn't. So who's better?
Who's better now? But I that was the thing. It was just if a customer came in and was allergic to dogs, that would not be good for the customer's experience. So, at least keep them in the back or whatnot.
See, when I was at Ched, Leslie Primo, when she worked there, always brought her dog to work, and it was a dog environment. So you might go down to production to record a commercial or voice something, and you realize, the production person has their dog in a bed. Because sometimes the dog would just be sleeping, sometimes it'd be active. But there was probably a time where there would be 4 to 6 dogs in the building on a daily basis.
Wow.
And then Primo's dog eventually passed, or other dogs passed, or people move on or stop bringing them. But it was a very dog-friendly environment, which I thought was cool because I like dogs. But I understand that some people might not. Either they just aren't comfortable around dogs. There could be like for me with cats, if somebody said, I want to bring my cat to Edmonton Sports Talk, I would say, all right, but it can't, like I'm not petting it, and it can't sit in my chair or try to crawl. Because if I'm around a cat, like I'm sneezing and runny eyes and nose within 30 seconds.
I think there's much more issue with cat hair and dander in terms of how that makes people feel than there would be with dogs.
Yeah.
And cats don't really have the recall of dogs. Come here, Boone. He's coming over. Right?
He's hoping there's food. Even if it's 1 in a million, they're checking.
Here's Star. and walks away.
Yeah, well, cats are aloof.
They are. Yeah, so that would be problematic in the workspace.
So anyway, we got a dog here, and now maybe.
Not maybe. Cooper the corgi is going to be coming into work with me next
buddy.
week. Yeah,
My buddy Coop.
we'll have, and there will be a video.
Yeah,
Air Cooper.
Well, if you saw our video today on Instagram, some people might not know this because they may. Then, by the way, you can follow Edmonton Sports Talk on Instagram. And on Twitter or X, you get the station at YEG Sports Talk. About, 6 weeks ago, Jay and I started doing a daily promo for the show, and it usually centers around me doing some sort of silly trick shot or slam dunk with our hoop. So today, Boone, the dog, was the celebrity guest dunkor, which was pretty cool. So maybe Boone will make an appearance later on the show.
I'd love that.
Was Boone actually on camera on your show, Hernan? He was just down by Gager. I'm not sure if he popped up or not. Okay, well, Gager could maybe just carry him in when they get back from peeing outside. So I assume Gager's going to go too while he's out there.
Might as well.
All right. We Hernan like that one. We encourage you to get in touch. First of all, if you are taking in the show on YouTube, we appreciate you very much. You can jump into the nasty chat and talk with us and, more importantly, with each other. And you also give us a thumbs up if you're there as well. We had a really good showing yesterday for the thumbs. Our minimum goal is 100 just to get to 100. 130 is a word of the day. 150 is 2 words of the day. We have a pretty good streak getting there. So get in there, give us the click right now, and we're off and running. And I got to remind people of this. Yes, we like it's cool for us to have a high number and all that kind of stuff, but it helps grow the show with the algorithm on YouTube and suggesting it to people who might like the show. Because as we always point out, people are still finding out about Edmonton Sports Talk almost a year and a half in. I mentioned the server at Local I was explaining it to on Saturday. There was somebody at the rink I was showing it to last night. They were kind of like, oh, wait a minute. I was like, yeah, that's it. And they were like, oh, yeah, I use that app. iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio. You're off and running. You can email Reid at EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Been very pleased with the quantity and quality of the limericks I've been getting lately.
Yes.
Such as one that has already come in from Uncle Jesse. First limerick. Oh, yeah, there we go. I like having this Irish band just hang out here and play.
It is a treat.
It's a treat.
Their instruments get in the way a lot, though. But
well,
and there was that flute incident.
Oh, jeez. The Oilers brought in Palmer as a contractor. The birth of Bo Skinner's brother was a big attractor. As Perry takes his rounds, Pickard controls his rebounds. Cheers, fellas. I'm heading to the chiropractor. Well, Uncle Jesse, I hope it's a cracking good time.
You know what? I was going to say, I hope Uncle Jesse gets back on that horse, gets back in the saddle and gets a limerick in, and he delivered. Well done.
Grumpy Cat says, hey, Reid, did Everett Fitzhugh throw popcorn at you in media row? He did not. He was not behind me. So I sit in front of the visiting radio booth, but he went and did TV last night because John Forsland was doing the prime game. So behind me was Mike Benton, who usually is their pre- and post-game show host. So he's doing 7 games on the radio this year when Everett has to do a TV game. So he was right behind me. So I took a selfie with him over my shoulder, calling the game, and put that on Instagram. But it was cool because I'd interviewed Mike before, and we talked online, but I'd never met him in person.
Okay,
so that was pretty cool.
Did you go shake his hand?
We talked during the intermission.
Good.
Yeah, it was during the intermission. The media guys kind of go loiter around the water cooler, have water cooler discussions.
Sure, why wouldn't you?
Yeah. So jump into the nasty chat, email Reid at EdmontonSportsTalk.com, and of course, if you text us at 780-218-9999, you're delivering your message to the River Cree inbox. River Cree Resort and Casino, home of the Kitchen Restaurant, all-you-can-eat prime rib buffet for just $49.99 every Sunday from 4 to 10 p.m. We'll get to the off-topic in a couple minutes. I think it's going to be a fun one. The Oilers beat Seattle, and plenty more on the Oilers throughout the afternoon. Let me ask you this first, Jay, as they beat Seattle 4-2 last night. You watched the game?
Yeah. Now, I had to watch half of it from gymnastics, but I did bring my earbuds this time, so I didn't have to disrupt
you watched
anybody.
it on your phone?
Oh, yeah.
Did you ever think the Oilers were going to lose that game?
No. To me, these games where the Oilers go down, whether it be 1 goal or 2 goals early, they still have in some instances. Last night they were still in control of that game, although they were down 1-0. And I don't know if you wanted to get into it now or not, but the Knobloch challenge.
No, I do want to mention that.
Okay.
I didn't like that challenge.
And I texted you right away.
I didn't think it was a winnable challenge.
I said, Reid, why are they challenging this? And now looking back on the game, okay, it was early. Knobloch knows he's got a very, very hot penalty kill.
Yep.
So the having a penalty kill, maybe not the worst thing in the world. And C, you got to give him credit because depending on the referee, depending on the night, that call could very well. I mean, I'd say there was a 20% chance they reversed that. Maybe that's even high.
Yeah.
But there is still a chance, and you just never know. So that showed me that Knobloch has an extremely high amount of trust in that PK unit.
Well, and he was asked about it after the game, and he said there was a play similar in this game. And I think he said in December, Buffalo had 2 plays like that. And he said, yes, Kulak was involved, but the player went into the crease on his own. When I saw it, I thought that's going to stand. I thought, because as we've learned a lot over the years reading the rule, a player can go into the crease, especially if the puck is there. He has a right to go to try to get the puck. The puck was coming into the crease. And then Kulak kind of made some contact. And to me, the Seattle player was trying to get out of the way, and I didn't think Pickard did a great job of trying to kind of stay with the play, though I know it's difficult and it happens fast. So I thought it was going to count. I was sitting with Tom Gazzola, who he works here, by the way. He's a colleague. He thought that's no goal. He said that's coming off the board. And he tweeted that he and I were going to fight. And I saw somebody reply to Twitter like, yeah, Jay, that's that, or yeah, Tom, like that's no goal. I'm with you. So even the people who observe hockey could, but I thought that was going to count. Now I realize there are plenty of situations that have been confusing over the several years now.
I always find it the easiest way to really test yourself is put the shoe on the other foot. If that was Corey Perry going into the net, driving hard, and did his best to elude the goaltender, and the defender took out the goalie, would the Oilers be really upset if that got taken off the board?
Right.
Yes, they would.
Yeah. So, but, I think Knobloch, he probably wasn't totally sure, but there was still 56 minutes left in the game, whatever it was. And he has one of the best penalty kills in the NHL, despite what the numbers say for the season. And we're going to talk about this in a few minutes. Since November 1st, he has one of the best penalty kills in the NHL. So we trusted them to kill it off. Really, the PK won the game. I asked you, did you ever think the Oilers were going to lose the game? Once they killed off the minute 9 2-man disadvantage, I was like, they're going to find a way to win. They're a good team. I can only tell you what I see. I know from being on with Tom and stuff we get, there's still criticism of the team, and that's fine. I get that. I'm going to challenge people on why they have those criticisms. But,
sure.
We'll get to that in a few minutes. We'll get to that in a few minutes.
You said you were sitting with Tom last night?
Yes, Tom Gazzola.
Was he...
Well, he sat with me, I guess, because I was in my regular spot.
Oh,
he
okay.
left his regular spot to join me for the game.
Did he bring his...
Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, he wanted to do a mini campaign during the intermissions, but I was like, Tom, there's not enough room to spread out the maps.
Yeah.
What if we roll a die and it bounces over the little glass barrier and goes down into the crowd down below?
Be awkward.
We can't do it.
And he's like, but Reid.
Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, but I said, no, Tom.
Good for you to put the foot down.
Yeah, I really did. Yeah, I really did. So we have a staff meeting, an EST staff meeting at 6 o'clock right after this show. It's always fun for everybody to get together. So our off-topic topic for William Huff, since 1952, William Huff has provided industry-leading advertising solutions for thousands of valued clients. Their unparalleled customer service, combined with decades of industry expertise and a desire to make every job the very best it can be, is what they call the William Huff Advantage. Visit their website at williamhuff.com. Give them a shout, 780-454-4536. Credit to Jay for suggesting this early this morning. You texted me at like 4:20 a.m. Like, I think we were both doing weights, and you texted me. Maybe it was closer to 5.
I was up early taking my daughter to track practice.
Oh, okay.
And I was listening to the morning show, and they were talking about the staff meeting.
And I was trimming my cow's hooves in the garage.
Of course, who could forget Lucy?
So anyway, give us, for the off-topic topic, an awkward moment at a staff meeting. So we'll say awkward, funny, angry, uncomfortable. I guess sort of the same as awkward. Or maybe even touching, but these tend to lean toward the cringy or uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So maybe colleagues got into an argument. Maybe a colleague blurted out a secret about somebody else they shouldn't say. Maybe somebody grossly misunderstood directions and made a fool of themselves, or was insubordinate, or something like that. So an awkward moment at a staff meeting. Though I guess if you do have a touching moment, you could share that. Like Billy,
let's just clarify. Not a touching,
not
physically,
someone touching someone else. Because that would go under awkward.
Yeah, that would be awkward. Touching heartfelt.
But you got Sergeant, what's our sergeant that's been on the force? Sergeant Buggins, whatever his name is. That's maybe he's retiring and they get him a cake or something like that.
Sure.
But more likely the time Sergeant Buggins was cleaning his gun during the staff meeting and was making people uncomfortable. Something like that.
Something like that, yes.
Yeah, so the EST inbox is 780-218-9999 for River Cree Resort and Casino. Email Reid at EdmontonSportsTalk.com, and you can also put it in the Nasty Chat on YouTube. And continue to give us a thumbs up. We're on really good pace, quite frankly, to get to 100 quite quickly, because I think people are going to rally here during the sports update and the commercial and just get us up there.
They always do.
Right away. The Oil Understood for GCL Diesel coming up in a couple minutes. Here's my good friend, Zachary Kubish.
Eight games dot the NHL schedule, including the Caps and the Flames. Dallas on the road in Vegas. Hurricanes meeting the Rangers, and Montreal hosting Winnipeg. In Minnesota, the Wild will miss Kirill Kaprizov for at least a month as he requires surgery to fix a lower body injury. In the WHL sees 2 games with Medicine Hat Wenatchee dropping the puck before the Broncos challenge the Cougars. Elsewhere, the Eagles butt heads with the Grizzlies for the lone AJHL game tonight. Meanwhile, the Elks have released kicker Borris Bede, with Bede making 25 of 32 field goals with the Green and Gold last season. And on the court, there's 4 games with the Lakers tipping off against the 76ers, Houston taking on Atlanta, the Bucks throwing it down with the Trailblazers, while Golden State plays Utah. This sports update is brought to you by Find Edmonton. Find takes your unused furniture and home goods to help those moving out of homelessness. Get donations picked up or drop them off free of charge. Find out how you can make an impact at findedmonton.com or call them at 780-988-1717. That's 780-988-1717. The Oil Understood brings us back on the other side of the break. I'm Zachary Kubish, keeping you in the loop.
GCL Diesel has been serving oil country since 1972. From diesel cars to SUVs to pickups. From farm tractors to school buses to a big rig. From diesel generators to forklifts, GCL can test, troubleshoot, and repair all diesel fuel system components. Whether it's injectors, pumps, turbos, filters, or additive, GCL has the parts you need to keep your diesel running the way it should. For genuine diesel parts at wholesale prices, visit GCL Diesel in the West End or online at GCLDiesel.com. GCL Diesel. Diesel understood.
Food Sausages makes their meat with nothing but the best local ingredients. From chicken, beef, and pork, their gluten-free sausages are packed with flavor. Every single bite. Get a 10% discount when mentioning Edmonton Sports Talk in-store or use the code EST when shopping online at foodsausages.ca. Plus, you get free delivery on orders of $100 or more. Find them at 6736 99th Street. Food Sausages. You can't beat our meat.
Hey Edmonton, ready to take advantage of lower rates and better pricing? South Fort Chevrolet in Fort Saskatchewan has you covered. From rugged trucks to sleek SUVs. And with over 40 years in business, you can trust that you're getting the best deal on your new ride. As the proud title sponsor of the Nielson Show, EST listeners can drive a little to save a lot with South Fort Chevrolet's transparent pricing and down-to-earth sales team. Visit us today in Fort Saskatchewan or online at southfortchev.com.
The grand opening sale at Sit and Sleep is almost over. This is your last chance to take advantage of the special introductory sale prices on all mattresses. Stop in today for a free pressure point scan using cutting-edge technology so sleepologists can identify the perfect mattress for you. Right now, get free local delivery on any mattress over $7.99 and receive a free bamboo cooling mattress protector. Enjoy grand opening savings with every mattress on sale. Join us on location today for the final celebrations at Sit and Sleep in South Common next to Planet Fitness. Don't miss out the grand opening sale ends soon.
All right, how you doing? Oilers with 2 games left on their 6-game homestand. They have the Detroit Red Wings on Thursday and the Toronto Maple Leafs on Saturday. I wonder if anybody will pay attention to that game. They beat Seattle last night as Jamie and I are camped out here in the James H. Brown studio. We had Trent on a few days ago, eh? James H. Brown Personal Injury, well, it was a week and a half, I guess. James H. Brown Personal Injury Law Firm, the heavy hitters of injury law. With over 200 years of experience, James H. Brown will get you the settlement you deserve. JamesHBrown.com. Book your private consultation today. Quick note from the Double E. Did you see Borris Bede was released? The kicker.
Interesting. I wonder why.
Why do you think, Jay?
Overpaid, underdelivered, Reid.
Now they need a kicker.
I'm sure they can find one. You just can't... look, Borris Bede, he would say the same thing. He would say that it was not his best year. He was inconsistent.
Yep.
And he was least consistent at the most important times. And, can be directly, I guess, contributed directly to 2 wins in a major way. Some would say 3. But, yeah, I think this is just the new regime. If you're getting paid the kind of money Borris Bede was getting paid, you better be one of the top 2 kickers in the league.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they'll find somebody else that can do it for a lot less. Seems to be the MO right now is cutting, I guess, trimming the fat, although that's not a great way to put it, because none of these are all professional athletes.
Probably paying people more in line with their contribution to the team.
100%. And realizing that those that need to be paid the most and have the most contribution to the team are closest to the ball. Always.
Right.
So that will be where the focus is on free agency, offensive line, defensive line to start. They've already locked up Trey Ford. Need to see what they do at linebacker. But you know what? It's business, and it's a results business. If you're not doing your job, that's what's going to happen. I'm sure he'll find another team, land on his feet. But yeah, they do need a kicker.
All right, let's dive into, because I have a question for people, and maybe you can help me, Jay, or maybe you'll have questions yourself. We have the oil understood for GCL Diesel, providers of the best diesel engine components around, from turbochargers to injectors, fuel pumps to sensors. They are the critical engine component experts. Proud to serve Edmonton and Northern Alberta for over 50 years. Now a partner of Edmonton Sports Talk and the Reid Wilkins Show. GCL Diesel. Diesel. Understood. Okay. So, Jay, you noticed the Oilers won last night. You noticed that when we started doing this show in September into October, the Oilers didn't have a very good month of October. Did anybody say that they were going to struggle in that month?
I believe I'm looking at them.
Not often right, so I got to subtly point it out when I am. They went 5-5-1 in October, including a power play of 13.3% and a penalty kill of 62.5%. So, that's part of their record. That's part of the journey this season. Since November 1st, okay? We often use the November 9th cutoff. I know somebody, was it Tony last night, was talking about them going 22-6-1 in their last 29 games. I'm not even sure how far that goes back to. That's really good. I'm just going to go since November 1st. I'm just going to use months. They had a mediocre October. The special teams stunk. They were pretty, well, I don't know if they were inconsistent because they were probably more bad than good. Since November 1st, the Oilers have gone 27-10-2 for a 718 points percentage. Okay? That is, since November 1st, that is first in the NHL. So I didn't go by points because the games played will be different. So they, of all the points available to a team, the Oilers have collected more percentage-wise than any other team. Okay? So not quite 3/4, but over 2/3. They have scored 3.56 goals per game. Despite the fact, as we pointed out, they don't often score into an empty net when they have the lead, though they did get one last night from Ekholm.
How fitting.
So 3.56 goals for per game since November 1st is first in the NHL during that span. They have allowed, since November 1st, 2.54 goals against per game. Sixth in the NHL. Okay, not first, but sixth. Not bad for a team that supposedly can't play defense and turns the puck over too much and has bad goaltending. They're sixth in goals against per game since November 1st. The special teams, the power play is at 28% since November 1st. That's fourth in the NHL. Their PK is at 83.1%, fifth in the NHL since November 1st, and maybe the main reason they won the game last night. So to me, those are 5 pretty big things.
Sure.
How do you collect points? Do you score? Do you prevent goals? And are you good on special teams? They are in the top 6, including being first in 2 of those 5 things. So that's pretty good as we bring you the Oil Understood for GCL Diesel. So, Jay, a lot of the things we wind up discussing on this program and on this station tend to be, well, when the Oilers lost, why didn't they do that? Why couldn't they stop that? Why did they mess that up? And even yesterday's show, with the Oilers having won their last couple of games, including one in quite impressive fashion over the Vancouver Canucks, we were getting a lot of, I don't understand why this player is playing. I don't understand why this player's in the lineup. Sure. I don't understand why this player gets the ice time. I don't understand why the coach does this. When is this player going to do this? When is this player going to do this? So I guess my question is, for Oilers fans, and I'm not doing this to. I'm doing this so maybe you can educate me.
Me educate you? No, the listeners
educate me. What's the problem? They're first in points percentage since November 1st. First in goals for per game. Sixth in goals against per game. Fourth on the power play. Fifth in the PK. My question is, what's the problem? Or what's preventing you from enjoying this? Or maybe you're enjoying it, but then why do we get messages about the problems with the team and not the good things with the team? Is that just human nature? Is that just what people... Hey, I've been a talk show host for a while. I know it. You got to be there for people. You got to be a shoulder to cry on. People don't, people worry about the future. But here's another thing I want to say. I got to pick up a piece of paper. It bugs me when it's on the floor. I have to get it. So here's another thing. So I know we're going to get, well, what about in a playoff series? Well, what about in this? I'm going to tell you something, everybody. I'm going to tell you a little secret, okay? The Oilers might lose in the first round of the playoffs. As good as the numbers are that I just gave you, they might lose in the first round of the playoffs. Because you know what? You get into the playoffs and stuff happens. I've seen a lot of really, really good teams lose in the first or second round of the playoffs. Really, really good teams. Like Stanley Cup caliber teams. Because sometimes they don't play well enough, or another team plays really well, or they don't get a bounce, or they just get beat by another. There's going to be in the first round of the playoffs, there's going to be 2 teams playing each other that could have 105, 104 points. One of them is going to be out. So I'm not telling you it's a golden road to the Stanley Cup. I'm not telling you that at all. Something bad could happen in the future. But I am saying, why worry about it now? Can you be in the moment and think to yourself, holy crap, this is the team I wanted the Oilers to be in the 7th year of what turned into the decade of darkness. And you know how I know you wanted it to be that team? Because I talked to many of you on the shows I was hosting at the time.
Yeah, there's no getting away from that.
Why don't we have a Corey Perry? Why don't we have strong penalty killers? Why don't we have a good backup goalie? Why don't we have veterans who just know how to win? Everybody, you got them all. You got them. 27-10-2 since November 1st. In the Stanley Cup final last year, 1 game of winning and from they didn't win it, Reid, so they must suck. Okay, fine. If you believe that, go live your life and be miserable at everything. So that's my question. What's the problem? What's the problem with the team?
Well, as JJ says in the nasty chat, because you can always get better. Okay.
Okay, so what's your standard though, JJ?
Yeah, that's the question.
You can always get better, and they have to strive to get better, and they have to strive to improve and peak for the playoffs and all that kind of stuff.
Aren't they getting better right now?
Aren't they getting better right now? Like, so 7-18, and maybe you don't care about the points percentage, JJ, but so 7-18 isn't good enough? Because I can tell you what, 10 years ago or 11 years ago, whenever I started doing stuff on Chet, I can tell you what, 320 sure as hell wasn't good enough for a points percentage. People would have killed for 718. People would have killed for 470. And I'm not saying, well, everything should be compared to that, but it is part of the recent history of this franchise. And this team has ascended, and I'm not going to deny it. Part of it's through luck of winning a draft lottery. But if you're looking at 718 and saying that's not good enough, I don't know how anybody's going to satisfy you.
I agree. I can't disagree with anything you're saying. I can't disagree with what Zachary says. I think people just like to complain, Reid.
Which is fine, and that's why we're here.
Yeah.
I don't mind that.
Yeah.
But, JJ, thanks for your reply. So I'm not directing that at you, JJ. I'm directing that at the royal you as opposed to you individual.
Well, and is this really directed at anybody, or is it just saying...
Well, no,
you're in the moment of improvement. You're here.
Last night, Tom, when I was on with Tom, there were a couple questions like, well, the Oilers don't have enough depth scoring. Well, why doesn't Arvidsson do this? And I kind of said, okay, I get it. There are individual players who could be doing better. I wish Arvidsson's stats were better. I thought they would be. But again, they win almost every game they play, quite frankly. Or they win the large majority of the games they play. So even if there are players who are quote-unquote underperforming, they ain't stopping them from winning most of the time. That's all I'm saying.
Reid, this team is 22-6-1 in its last 29 games. 22-6-1.
Like, that's elite.
That is amazing.
Yeah, that's elite.
It's almost unbelievable.
Almost. But I do believe it. So that's my question to you.
And I've seen this name pop up a couple times, and I will give a little bit of, I guess, pause for this on behalf of the Nasties. Is Jeff Jackson and the Jeff Skinner signing. I think that's a burr in the side of Oilers fans for good reason. But at some point, you have to realize that they don't get there's no team in the history of any professional sports that gets every free agent signing or offseason acquisition right. Sometimes it just doesn't work out. If Jeff Skinner turns it around, hey, awesome. I don't think anybody in this city would not like that. If he doesn't, well, chalk it up to, well, shucks. We swung and missed. But you still have a team that's the third best team in the NHL. And seemingly getting better and better. And molding and gelling. You know, I said about I thought maybe Nuge would be a better fit with Podkolzin and Arvidsson. And, you know, he played again last night with Janmark and Brown, and every player on that line got a point. They're finding ways to win. They're finding ways to provide depth. And now you're looking at a team that has a good 1-2 punch, to say the least. And even if not, their bottom 6 are coming together too for their roles on the team. It's like you're in the moment. And that's
what I'm saying. Maybe that's my message to people today is be in the moment.
You're here.
Enjoy it. Don't be on April 28th right now.
Or June. And thinking about whatever.
Yeah.
Live right now. This team's good. This team is a really good team. Enjoy it.
All right. We got a very special guest coming up. He is one of the co-writers of an article on The Athletic, and we are going to have plenty more Oilers talk, of course, throughout the way, and Tyler Palmer is going to join us. The headline of the piece, in the NHL, boozing is out. Edible cannabis and video games are in. We're going to get the story behind the story here with Dan Robson when we bring you back to Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton sports.
On the ice, the Bruins battle the Sabres. The Avs match up against the Islanders. Tampa Bay hosts Chicago, while the Ducks meet the Kraken, having 8 games in the NHL. Elsewhere, the Tigers play the Wild, and the Swift Current Broncos battle Prince George in the WHL, and in the AJHL, Canmore visits Olds. Back in Edmonton, Borris Bede, veteran kicker, has been released by the Elks after hitting just over 78% of his field goals for the Double E last season. In basketball, Milwaukee takes on Portland. The Hawks and Rockets tip off. The Jazz battle the Warriors, while the 76ers and Lakers hit the court on a 4-game NBA slate. This sports update is brought to you by Paramount Flooring. Proudly serving Edmonton and area for over 30 years, their showroom offers all the best and latest in flooring, tiles, and area rugs. Find them at the corner of 184th Street and 107th Ave, and they're open 7 days a week. And tell them EST sent you for 10% off your next purchase. You can shop in-store or online at ParamountFlooring.ca. Dan Robson from The Athletic joins the Reid Wilkins Show on the other side of the break. I'm Zachary Kubish, and that was your sports update.
Get your fix every single game with the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame and postgame shows with Tom Gazzola and Hernan Salas. Whether it's breaking down the starting lineup, predicting key matchups, or diving deep into the game's biggest moments, Tom and Hernan are here to give you the best insight and analysis in the city. After the final horn, get the breakdown of every key moment, performance, and player reactions. It's your one-stop shop for all things game day. Catch the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame and postgame shows with Tom Gazzola and Hernan Salas, only on Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton sports.
You want the heavy hitters on your team, both on and off the ice. If you've been injured in a car accident, call the heavy hitters of injury law. James H. Brown and Associates, Alberta Injury Lawyers. With over 200 years of combined injury law experience, their precedent-setting lawyers are ready to help. Locally owned and proud Edmonton Oilers fans, James H. Brown and Associates wants to support you with their unrivaled experience, unrivaled results, and unrivaled commitment. When accidents happen, head to jameshbrown.com.
Gallo LLP is an Alberta-based accounting firm with expert chartered professional accountants in both our Edmonton and Sherwood Park accounting firms. Our experienced and innovative accountants provide financial advice that saves our clients money. Simply put, we help our clients protect their assets and grow their businesses. At Gallo LLP, they go beyond the numbers to ensure the continued success of your business. Reach out to Preet or John to discuss how they can help your business grow. Visit gallollp.ca today and see how they can help you take your business to the next level.
Looking for quality building materials and friendly advice? Visit us at Windsor Plywood Leduc, family owned and locally run since 1993. From interior materials for doors, flooring, baseboards, and all the finishing touches to all you need for your outdoor projects like cedar lumber for decks and fences, plus all the plywood you'd need. Our full-time on-staff carpenter can help with anything odd-sized or custom, and from domestic hardwoods to exotic selections, we've got you covered. And if we don't have it, we'll track it down for you. Windsor Plywood Leduc. We're the experts you need to know. All right, thanks a lot for checking out the show this afternoon. With you until 6 o'clock tonight. Our off-topic topic, because we have a Edmonton Sports Talk staff meeting at 6, the off-topic topic for William Huff is your staff meeting, an awkward staff meeting moment, uncomfortable, an argument, or somebody did something silly. You got any coming in? We can save them for later?
We can save them for later, because I know we have
a little because we got a guest standing by. I just want to remind people to submit that.
Oh, I've got some doozers here.
Yeah, you and I actually didn't have any, at least not that we remembered, but we thought out there in the world there has to be somebody that's had, maybe they did it, maybe somebody wrong thing at the wrong time, outed a secret.
Yeah, my staff meetings...
or somebody tattled on somebody else in front of everybody else.
My staff meetings up till last year consisted of me and my brother talking.
Yeah.
Happened every day.
And if you're taking in the show on YouTube, remember to give us a thumbs up. Hi to all the Winnipeg sports talkers checking in as well. Let's quickly get up to 100 before the end of the first hour, and then we'll climb from there. So on the weekend, I read an article on the Athletic website, and the headline drew me in, and then I read the whole article, and it was worth the read for sure. The headline, in the NHL, boozing is out, edible cannabis and video games are in. And I thought to myself, I got to see where this goes, and I went to some pretty interesting places. It was co-written by Joshua Cloak and Dan Robson, and Dan joins us now. Dan, you're on with Reid and Jay. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's good to see you. Thanks for, I know I didn't give you a ton of notice for the interview, so thanks for doing it, and thanks for accommodating the video part of it as well for everybody on YouTube. All right, so the first question is, you're a reporter, probably the same first question you would ask. What was the initial idea for this? Like, how did you and Josh think, oh, wait a minute, there's like an actual story here we can tell?
Well, the initial idea was actually Josh's. I joined him after, and he just kind of wanted to look at how unwinding and what that looked like for NHL players today was like what's their downtime look like, and how does it compare to the past? And when we started doing some reporting on that central question, we kind of came to a more direct conclusion that it was clear that there's sort of a bygone era of drinking excessively, something that, you can look back at, 10, 20 years ago, that was very common, to increase use of edible cannabis to unwind after games, and also to play video games, and just a little less time spent in the bars and more time spent either alone in a hotel room or back in your basements or in your condo after an NHL game.
Okay, which we want to dive into, but I also want to ask you here before I hand it over to Jay for some. I just double-checked the article here. More than 36 players, so I'll say you talked to around 40. You don't have to give me the exact number. It is on different teams. There are some players who are quoted. There are some players who are quoted anonymously. But did you have any guys, they were like, hey, man, like, even anonymously, I'm not touching this one? Like, what was it like getting players to talk?
Yeah, there's certainly some uncomfortable conversations in the process of sort of saying, I'd love to chat about this, and some people don't even want to touch it. And I think the number of players we spoke to anonymously for it speaks to an ongoing stigma. I mean, we had honest conversations with them, but there was a real fear of being viewed negatively by talking about their cannabis use, which is interesting because I think in the past people would talk about drinking a lot more openly and frequently, and now I think there's just more concern about what the backlash might be, and compared to for that kind of use.
Dan, I wanted to ask you about, like you said, and you alluded to in the article, that it used to be the good old days where the boys would go out for a few, and maybe a couple would have a few too many, and you'd chop it up and you'd get a little loose with the lips, and it was good for team camaraderie. I understand that. And my question to you is, did you find from this that any of the younger generation, the younger players that might resort to, say, just being alone in their hotel room and popping an edible instead of going out as a team, did you see any of them suggest that may be causing a little bit of a lack of togetherness with the team, or is that just the new norm?
So that's a very interesting question that we wanted to get to the bottom of. And I think we spoke to a few more veteran players who certainly raised concerns about the lack of camaraderie compared to what they experienced when they first came in the league, the sort of lack of just sitting back and having a beer with your buddies or just being out as a group and together. Although those who are more involved in gaming would say it's actually, they socialize that way. Sometimes they play together. Often they play together. So you have teammates actually joining in games together. And even if they're not in the same room, they're chatting over their headsets and they're unwinding in that way. So, I mean, the conversation still happens. So I think those that are more in tune with the culture of gaming are suggesting that actually it's not quite as insular as you might think. But there certainly is, those who lament the loss of the late night bar after the game when you can commiserate over referees and coaches and everything else that went on.
Well, I can certainly see the health benefits of not going out as a team to the local nightclub after the win, because you know what's going to happen there. But I wanted to ask you, is this now a question of these younger athletes? Is this something that they're becoming groomed to know as the way? I mean, I know when I was coming up, you'd be going to Subway to grab a 6-inch cold cut combo on the way to your game. And then, you wouldn't really think about the things you're putting in your body or your recovery but this seems to be happening at a much younger age. Would you agree with that and who you spoke to for this article?
Absolutely. The one thing that came up again and again and again is that the youngest culture or the youngest generation in this game right now is much more in tune with their bodies. I mean, there's a lot more awareness in general in society about the impacts, for example, of alcohol, but just in health in general. A lot of these guys don't like to go out and party because they're not going to be able to perform at their peak ability. And this is, I think, ingrained at a much younger age within the culture coming up. Is the need to have a sort of high performance environment. I mean, anyone who has children who play in high performance hockey right now, they already know that. I mean, we're more aware of nutrition. We're more aware about the importance of sleep. And I think in general that has played into this culture. There's just, a couple of the players we spoke to just said, a lot of these players that are coming in, they rarely drink at all. And they're, they kind of anecdotally note their body fat levels are much less amongst the rookies on the team than the players when they came in the league, the older guys when they came in the league. So yeah, I think this is a culture shift. I mean, this is what we wanted to look at with the story, that it's not just about an increase in edible cannabis use, which is one of the interesting points of it, but it's about a mentality, about how this time away from the ice is spent, and what are the benefits and the ramifications of that.
Dan, this is great, and I don't really have a question here. I'm just going to comment on what you said, and if you want to take it somewhere else, or if maybe you're just going to say, yeah, Reid, that's kind of what I said. But because I know from talking about sports for a lot of my life, there's a lot of, and Jay and I have had this discussion in recent weeks about the year-round hockey, and if you really want to make the NHL, like, how young do you as a family have to decide? Sometimes like Connor McDavid, remember, I don't know if you read the Marty Klinkenberg book a few years ago, but like when he was 6, he told his mom, I want to get exceptional status and make the NHL. Like McDavid, maybe he was a bit different, but with the year-round hockey, like and how hard it is to make the NHL, like you almost do have to decide by the time you're turning double digits, like by the time you're turning 10. So maybe that's an offshoot of all this. Like it's just maybe, I don't know, like, is it getting foreign to these kids to even be like, hockey's not fun? Like, you're picking a profession at 10, like some people would pick it at 24.
I mean, that's a fascinating topic because I think you can go many different ways with that. I mean, I think there's been a lot of criticism about the sort of over-professionalization of youth hockey. But at the same time, I mean, in talking about sort of having a decreased level of sort of alcohol and partying, I mean, I think you'd be hard-pressed to say, especially at a younger age, that's sort of a negative downfall sort of, or something that's sort of fallen by the wayside. But at the same time, that sort of hyper-focus on having a perfect body, that focus on making sure that you're like a fine-tuned machine at a young age, when you get to sort of the certainly lower levels, and for that to be a pressure that young athletes are feeling. I mean, I think we can certainly dive into the potential ramifications of that and the pressure that these players are feeling at a young age. So I think that's one aspect that certainly needs to be considered when looking at the culture as a whole.
Yeah, this was a great article. I recommend people to check. I don't want to give away everything that's in it because I know you want people to go click on it. But the headline is in the NHL, boozing is out, edible, cannabis, and video games are in. It just came out on the 24th, was that Saturday? But for people watching, you see Dan's name, Dan Robson. It's common spelling, so they can check that out. I just want to keep you here because you've written several books with some pretty high-profile people, including Andre DeGrasse, including the late Pat Quinn, including Doug Gilmour, Clint Malarchuk. People remember that incredible, awful injury that he had. How do you approach sitting down with a sports figure to tell their story? Like with Malarchuk, is it obvious, okay, Clint, like we got to start here with the injury? Do you just sit and have coffee and see how compatible you are, first of all? I love hearing about the process.
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, it's kind of different depending on who I'm working with, and also the access I had. I mean, obviously the pandemic created a huge sort of disconnect that I went with, for example, with Doug. He and I sat in a bar in Toronto every week and just talked about old stories, and I worked on getting his voice. And for months, we kind of just came together, and I wrote his book that way. And with Pat, I wrote a biography of him, so that was talking to everybody in his world, a lot of his former players, a lot of his former colleagues, and just that was in my own voice and trying to be able like to sort of tell the sort of his incredible story. It was right after he'd passed away, which was a different sort of process. But it's often just speaking at length with an athlete and trying to get beyond the sort of superficial conversations about, you know, what happened in this game, what happened in that game. How do you feel about that? Like, I think when you're working on a book that's, you know, obviously you're asking someone to invest time in spending like this hours and hours reading it. You really want to dive into something that kind of goes beyond the superficial. And a lot of athletes obviously are trained to be superficial. I mean, that's the nature of our most media conversations because, you know, they're sort of in bubbles where they're asked about the game specifically. So I get a lot of fun chatting with them about everything, not everything, but a lot of everything sort of away from what they're used to talking about. And then obviously the framework of their career becomes the narrative structure of the story. But hopefully in the books that people will find that there's a lot of information that they weren't aware of, and there's insights and new perspectives on these guys that they hadn't considered before. So it's been a lot of fun to get to know them, like with Andre DeGrasse. I did one with Nazem Kadri that just came out in the fall that I really enjoyed doing, and obviously talked about him being the first Muslim-born hockey player to win the Stanley Cup, and he's still an active player. So, I mean, that was an interesting place to kind of look. 'Cause a lot of these guys are often retired, but Andre DeGrasse obviously still mid-career too. So that was a different departure as well.
I just wanted to ask you quickly, you know, now that we're onto your autobiographies and wow, what a collection of them. How do you find, is it challenging to make each of them unique? Because you're telling the story about somebody else and you're just there to help and you know, get the stories out. But how do you make each of these unique do you make it unique to the person you're writing about or their story? Or how do you find a way to separate them?
Well, I hope so. I mean, my intent is to make them all read differently and feel differently, because and when they're autobiography, if I'm the ghostwriter of it, I mean, the reader is expecting to sort of sit down and have a beer. That's the way I think of it with the character that I'm talking about. So I adopt their voice to a certain extent. We do hours and hours of interviews, and I never sort of write verbatim what they say, but I often end up sort of adopting the way they speak and the way they talk. And so, you know, it's like when I write my own book or my own stories, there's a unique voice that's my own. And when I write about someone else, or I'm writing as someone else, I kind of think of it as like a novelist would think of a character where this person's the narrator of their own story, but they're not me. I'm filling in the details I need to, but I need to tell it from their perspective with the kind of storytelling that they would. And I know that very well because I've spoken to them so much that I have a sense of how they tell their stories. And then I try and fill in the details because we all have gaps in the way we tell our stories. We all have sort of areas where we didn't really go far enough. So I'll do subsequent interviews with people in their lives and other people they know it sort of in a journalistic way to fill in those details. And that was prevalent especially with Clint Malarchuk's story, because it had a lot to do with things he couldn't remember due to he was struggling with alcoholism at the time. So we really had to kind of dive into some difficult things, and that really depended on the cooperation and the real hard work of his loved ones who went out of their way to help fill in those details. And we could tell that story in a vulnerable way that was still in Clint's voice, but was honest and didn't sort of hold back from anything that he couldn't remember or didn't really want to maybe frame in a negative way.
Dan, this was an incredible segment. Thanks for being so generous with your time. Our Zach is putting the link to the Athletic article in the description on YouTube, and obviously I gave your name, and danrobson.ca if people want to look at your book. I bet you people have probably read some of your books, but they associate it more with the athlete or the coach that you were talking to, right? So this was a great segment. I thought you and Josh did a great piece on unwinding and booze and cannabis in the NHL. I'll tell you, if you're ever in Edmonton, I don't know how much, let us know. Like, there's a space right here. You could come in and spend some time with us in studio if you're ever in our fair city, sir.
And Dan, if you want to, maybe we'll sign you up. You could be the writer of the Reid Wilkins autobiography.
Oh, yeah.
That would be a #1 hit.
I'd love a crack at it. Thanks very much.
Okay, thanks for your time, Dan. All right, Dan Robson from The Athletic, author and journalist, danrobson.ca. He was great, and that's I found it a really interesting article because it's a little, it is behind the scenesy. It's not this player scored a goal with 2 minutes left. Like it's
behind the scenes.
It's good,
and it's alarming.
Do you think it's alarming?
Yes.
Okay, so no, I'm not questioning.
No,
but what alarms?
And
you
I'm
about
not saying it's alarming. Maybe negatively.
Okay.
I know that word might sound like I'm saying this is a bad thing.
Yeah.
It's just alarming to me how much the team dynamic has changed.
Okay.
I did not grow up with the technology and the ability to go sit in your dark room and be recluse and just play video games, but you're still with your whole team. It's a very, very different world we live in. I don't believe in that. I would still believe, and even for Edmonton Sports Talk, having a meeting like we're going to have tonight where we're all in person sitting face to face is much more useful than if we were all doing this by computer.
We should keep talking about this a little bit because I do think it's interesting, and I just want to tease this by saying this is an image from Dan and Josh's piece that really stuck with me. I'll just read the paragraph. Another NHL veteran describes his shock a few seasons ago when he turned back from a game of cards on a team flight to see one of his younger teammates locked into a VR headset, deeply entrenched in a video game. So he wasn't just playing on his phone or on an iPad or on the Switch now that's popular. He's got the VR headset. So it's kind of like if a guy's playing a Switch or a handheld game, like you could still say like, hey, Melvin, what was that restaurant we went to in Detroit? Like if Melvin's got a VR headset on, you're probably not even going to bother. Melvin did have a good game that night, though.
But it was interesting, and another little behind the scenes of this article is the way that they started the article was as if you were in a video game with the Maple Leaf players.
With Marner, because Marner it kind of started with Marner likes Call of Duty, right? Yeah. Anyway, interesting kind of sports topic. I know a few people are jumping into the nasty chat about it. Continue to give us a thumbs up as well. We have our off-topic topic off and running. We have my question about the Oilers as well still out there for people. And we're only an hour in. Back in a few minutes.
Get to know the winners, props, plays, parlays, and more with Nielson and Hustler. Weekday mornings at 11 on The Lock Shop. Only on EdmontonSportsTalk.com.
Your home for live music and great performances is
the River Cree Resort and Casino.
On the patio, there's whiskey in the jar.
March 14th, don't miss the Kings of Celtic. The legendary Irish Rovers play the venue at the River Cree.
Hey boys, sing us a song. One of the old ones and we sing along.
Get your tickets at rivercreeresort.com.
River Cree Resort and Casino.
Excitement.
Celebrating 70 years in the signage industry, William Huff Advertising is the most recognized name in the game. An in-house, one-stop shop for all of your design, print, and installation needs. William Huff provides quality graphic solutions for everyone. Here in our City of Champions and throughout the nation, they are the preferred signage partner entrusted by many of the biggest corporations, pro sports teams, and organizations to bring their identity to life. Recognize the name, get in the game. WilliamHuff.com.
Play more tables and games.
Play more tables and games. Make the most of your bad game. Oh, you want to, you need to, you know just what you gotta do. It's time to add some fun to your life. Make the most of your bad game. Play more tables and games.
ca.
Don't feel like working? Join the Hangout. You never know what you might hear. Weekday mornings 9 to 11 on EdmontonSportsTalk.com.
The Jets meet the Canadians at Flames, challenge the Capitals, and Carolina hits the road in New York to take on the Rangers, while Seattle plays Anaheim, having 8 games around the NHL. And for the Wild, Kirill Kaprizov requires surgery to fix a lower body injury and is expected to miss at least 4 weeks. Elsewhere, the WHL sees just 2 games, having the Broncos facing the Cougars and Medicine Hat challenging Wenatchee. Meanwhile, in the AJHL, it's the Grizzlies and Eagles dropping the puck for the lone game tonight. In the CFL, the Elks have released kicker Borris Bede after he suited up last season in Edmonton, going 25 for 32, 1 kicking field goals. And out east, the Jays have signed Adam Kloffenstein to a minor league deal, with Kloffenstein being a former third-round pick of the Jays in 2018. I'm Zachary Kubish. That was your sports update. The second hour of the Reid Wilkins Show starts right now.
All right, in about an hour, we'll be joined by Tyler Palmer, U of A Golden Bears goaltender, who was the backup last night for the Oilers as Stuart Skinner was away from the team as he and his wife welcomed their second child into the world. So we'll see how his day went down. Calvin Pickard said he was locked in during the warm-up and that he was really good with they call that sewer ball, keeping the soccer ball alive before the game. I think that's what some teams call it.
Yeah, it seems it's the oddest thing to me that, for whatever reason, no matter what, when you get to a certain age of hockey, you're playing soccer before the game.
Well, it gets you going. Keeps the hand-eye going.
Yeah.
When I walk into the rink, because now I get there 30 to 40 minutes before the start of the game, and in that huge staging area, like back where the Zamboni goes off, it's a big area, the officials are there warming up.
Right.
And I saw a linesman yesterday doing he was standing in front of a pillar and he was doing throwing a ball off the wall and catching it. And I was like, what do you need your hand-eye for? But it's just all part of the warm-up.
Dropping the puck,
I guess. He doesn't have to catch the puck. Well, they flip it to them, I guess. Portions of this hour presented by Canadian Brewhouse. Wing Wednesdays, unbeatable at the CBH, only 69 cents each, and a mountain of flavors to savor. Flavor of the month in January, passion fruit habanero. Do that wing thing every Wednesday at the Canadian Brewhouse. Before we talk a little bit more about that article in The Athletic, and we just had one of the authors on, Dan Robson, let's get some replies to the off-topic topic for William Huff. Tell us about an awkward moment at a staff meeting, an uncomfortable moment, a nightmare moment, something that was a little cringeworthy during a staff meeting.
We had a staff meeting mid-afternoon on a Friday, and apparently some of the employees thought it would be wise to go out for a liquid lunch prior to the meeting. It was quite clear that they were inebriated in the meeting, so our manager kicked them out of the meeting after one of them ripped a giant fart, forcing the room to clear out. The meeting was adjourned, and the offending crew were told to clean out their desks.
Oh, wow.
That comes in from Crying Chris. Woo! Gentlemen, so this comes from Norman at Combine. Back a few years working at NWR Refinery, something had happened the day before, so we were having a meeting the next morning. Our boss, who is much younger than myself, heck, most of the crew, comes into the room, sits down, and starts talking and giving us bleep. Well, he dropped his voice and tried using his dad voice. Everyone started laughing at him and his voice. Poor guy got mad and went and got his boss. His boss came in, asked what was so funny. We explained it to him, and he also started laughing.
Oh, jeez.
It was a very awkward moment for him. Oil field memories. That comes in from Norm in a combine.
That's a good one.
Very good. Yeah, I've just can't stop thinking about that interview we just had and about that article in general, because it's just such a departure from any team sports I ever had. And I'm not at all like, I'm not the old man yelling at clouds. I get it. It's a different world, and you wonder, is that having the same effect because the team is about camaraderie. The stronger you on off ice, the easier things are on ice and in on the court, on the field, you name it. So it's interesting that they're finding new ways to do that. And I'll say it. I mean, staying out going out for the late dinners and places where you might get into more trouble. I mean, we've all heard the stories from the Oilers back in the way, going down to David's Lounge on Argyle. That was their hangout spot. I mean, the debauchery that happened there, that simply doesn't happen now. Right. And the rise of cannabis and the use of cannabis as opposed to opiates and painkillers and things that, players, once they left the game, would become and still were addicted to, is being replaced now by something that has, I guess, less harm, right, in the long term.
I'll read another expert from the article here. Riley Cote, a former NHL player, has seen a huge shift in his career since the 2000s. He says during his playing days, there were always players on his teams who used cannabis in some form, but today there is more focus on the precision and intent for how it is being used. Cote went on to say that after he retired in 2010, he spent 7 seasons as an AHL assistant. He witnessed players go from drinking beers on the bus after a game to infusing their peanut butter and coconut oil with cannabis.
Yeah. I mean, just
I
different.
think there's a lot to, and that's why I'm glad we had Dan on, because there's a lot to this, and we're not sitting here, and I don't think you're sitting there saying, "Oh, you got to drink after games." No, it's not what you're saying at all.
No,
and then there's so much with recovery. Like I think I've told the story that if you see an Oiler after the game, especially a few years ago, like they'd always have some purple smoothie looking thing. You got to replenish, you got to recharge.
Well, what's the thing that every athlete says? Whether it be on our show or on your former show or just on media that we all consume, where they're interviewing athletes that have what's what you missed the most about the game? What do they say, Reid?
Being with the guys.
Being with the
or
boys.
the teammates,
being with the teammates. Being in the locker room. Having the laughs. Being on the road. Right? Those are the moments that you as an athlete cherish and hold on to forever, because the wins and losses ultimately don't mean much. Unless it ends with a championship, but that's few and far between.
And we're buying or selling here for Damon Bunting, a consistent top-producing realtor in the greater Edmonton area for over 17 years. He and his team would love to help you find that right home or make the move from your current home. Community-driven, he understands what it takes to make a difference in our city. Check him out, DamonBunting.com, Instagram handle, Damon Bunting Real Estate. Yeah, it is like you hear those teams say, well, we were a tight team. We got along. We supported each other. And I do agree there's something to that. But, I have a bit of a questioning mind, and sometimes I'm a contrarian, sometimes just for the sake of being a contrarian. Sure. But I also think talent still and experience still matters. And were you winning because you were getting along, or were you getting along because you were winning? You know what I mean? Like, it's for some teams, it might be different. And I also think, and I know this from, my experience with Rob and other ex-players I've gotten to know or interview over the years, and then just being around the Oilers, they'll go out or they'll try to have a team dinner. Well, Mike Smith, for example, apparently from what I heard, especially if something was going on in Edmonton, he didn't have time. He had 4 kids.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, we all got to go. Okay, wait a minute. The 3 guys with kids age 8 to 3, we know that you can't beat. Now maybe on the road they do stuff or whatever, but it's not a hard and fast rule. Well, the whole team goes out together all the time, and that's why we're going to win. Well, it's not that simple, especially once the players get a little older, right?
Absolutely, that changes your dynamic 100%. And the team dynamic, children change everything.
And like, who's bad this year? San Jose, Chicago. They probably get along.
Sure. I mean, it doesn't always translate, but it helps.
But yeah.
Big Uke makes a great point. He says in the nasty chat, I think a lot of it has to do with when they go out. They're always being photographed or videoed, lack of privacy in the tech world we live in.
That's another good point.
And Mitch Marner did speak about that in this article. He said, look, if we go out and we, let's say if it's even an off day, and this gets back, say we're in Boston, we go for a team dinner and there's wine on the table or beer on the table, and this gets back to the Toronto media, well, we're a bunch of booze hounds that are out blowing.
Even if it's one glass of wine
even
each,
if you're just having on an off night a beverage just with the boys, that could be taken way out of context. And it's simply not worth it for a lot of these kids.
That's a good point. That's a good thing. Well, look at the playoffs last year. I mean, McDavid's buying a few flats of beer for his teammates after they won the Western Conference Final. And there's guys videotaping it and sitting on his car. Now, I know that's only 3 people, or however many people, but they did it. And it still would have been uncomfortable for McDavid and his then fiance.
Okay, but let me ask you a question, because I do agree that's just BS. Like, leave the fella alone.
Yes,
leave him alone. Say hi if you want. If if you want.
Hey, good stuff, buddy. Have fun.
Way to go. Enjoy the win. Get your camera out of his face. But beside the point, was that not something that Oilers fans looked at and said maybe collectively, like, oh, good for them. They're enjoying did anybody say, well, what are they doing? Why are they having those beers? Wasn't this just after
they got a few days? Yeah, I think they just had won the West,
right? I mean, that's okay. Nobody's going to look at that.
And let's face it, they're probably having 2 each.
Right.
To unwind.
It's not like you're rolling Darnell Nurse out of there into an Uber to get. They're professional athletes, people. They know exactly what to put in their body and when.
Yeah.
But I, for one, and this is an old school take, hand up. I enjoy that part. I enjoy the part of getting together. And you don't have to involve alcohol with this. But getting together and doing something team, I mean, I'll bring it back to our team here, our EST staff party. We went out for tacos and then we went bowling.
Yeah, it's fun night.
I mean, that's like as high school as you can get. But it's good. It unifies the group. It brings everybody together. It takes you out of the office and allows you to see people in their normal life. And it just brings everybody that much closer.
Well, and I the one thing that Dan and Josh wrote in their article, I'm not going to find the passage, but, the one player said the value, and again, there doesn't have to be alcohol involved. We're not trying to just say that. But getting to talk to somebody away from the rink, And let's face it, even if you like your coach or your assistant coach or your GM, the employees are probably going to want to bitch about him at some point. So, hey, you know what? I don't have to bring up in a meeting or in the dressing room where I might be overheard that I didn't like that I got benched late in the second period. Maybe somebody could say, like, geez, guys, I thought I was playing well. Why? Like, he sat me the last 3 minutes. Yeah, Tony, you're playing well. Or maybe one guy says, hey, you know what, Tony? I heard him after the game saying that he felt bad that he missed you in the rotation or that he didn't. Oh, okay. Thanks, guys. Or
a lot of world's problems
or even
can be
teammates,
solved,
like after a game, okay, you pinched and I didn't cover for you. You thought I was covering. Okay, maybe after the game, it's a little too heated. Maybe we're at lunch the next day or there's a bunch of us out and and you could even laugh about it. You're like, geez, Wilkie, like, when I go in like that and I can get the puck, you still got to cover for me. And I can be like, oh, I know, Jay. Like, I was so slow to react. Like, I know I got to. And it's dealt with without it being a fight. And I guess what you're talking about is those conversations in a more social situation can help build trust. And maybe that's what players are saying. We hung out together and we bonded, and that helped our trust level on the ice or on the playing field. But again, I still think you have to have decent talent and players to begin with.
Yeah. It's just a very intriguing article. It's a must read. Martin in the River Cree inbox says, if I were to interview Reid, I would get a Lego set and have a conversation while building it. For Glue Guy, we would do work around the farm while having a conversation. Interesting.
That's good.
That'd be a big Lego set. You got a lot to say.
I really do. I really do.
Reid, for buying and selling for Damon Bunting real estate, I wanted to, because right off the top, you asked me a question that I thought was quite interesting. And you said,
I've already forgotten.
At any point, Jay, even though they were down early, then they came back, then they were down again, did you think that the Oilers were going to lose that game? And I emphatically said no.
Right.
This is the seventh This 7th time in the last 10 games, the Oilers have allowed the first goal, and they've won 5 of those 7. The Oilers are 4th in the NHL in win percentage when trailing first. Was
giving up the first goal. Okay.
So they give up the first goal, they win 56% of their games. The league best is Washington, 65%. The league worst is, who do you think the league worst is?
Sorry.
So when you allow the first goal, yet you still come back to win.
Who's done that the fewest times?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I don't know if it's one of
Who has the worst winning percentage after giving up the first goal? It's not hard.
The Sharks.
It is the San Jose Sharks. Oilers have had 25 games where they surrendered the first goal. Of those, they won 14. That's 56%.
And in some, a couple weeks ago, they gave up the first 2 or 3.
The league average of winning after giving up the first goal is 36%.
You know, and it's probably changed now because it's getting to be a little higher scoring era. But Rob did that a few years ago. He did the league average, and it was right around 2/3. That if you score the first goal, you either win or the game went to overtime. So if you went up 1-0, it was about 70% of the time you at least got a point out of the game.
Wow.
Now, it's probably...
So knowing what you know, that even when the Oilers give up the first goal, 56% of the time they still come back to win. Do you think this is becoming a little bit of a problem? Or something that can at least be questioned? Is why does this team continually come out of the gate slow?
I don't think it's a huge problem. I think they had that stretch where they were falling behind in those games where they were playing subpar or poorly in the first period. I didn't think them trailing after the first period yesterday was because they were playing poorly. You know, I thought, they gave up a goal that they challenged. They scored one coming back. They gave up. I mean, that second goal was kind of a double bouncer by Pickard.
What an odd bounce
it happens. I think, look, other teams are going to score. Other teams are going to score first. I think the Oilers in the McDavid-Draisaitl era have been a poor starting team. I don't think that they often enough impose their will on the game. I'm talking about, that's a criticism I would say of the team. But I don't think it's as pronounced as it used to be. And I also think they're a steadier team. Generally, I know that 2-week block was an exception. Like generally, when they do fall behind, it's not by a lot. Right. And then they have the firepower and the wherewithal to fight back and win a game like last night.
It's almost like they need that
there is part of that, but they need a little bit of...
They get that goal and they're like, oh, shoot, we're in a game.
Yeah, we got to go. Yeah, I agree. I would like to see some better starts still at times, but I don't think it's as big a problem as we've seen in past years of this team.
Matt Hyman, you had asked about the Jets. So the Oilers are 4th in the league when trailing first and coming back to win at 56%. The Winnipeg Jets are 5th at 54%. So it's not hard to say. I mean, the teams that are top in the NHL are the best in this category. Yeah, you
win when you score first, and you can also come from behind. No, that's a good stat, though. All right, if you want to reach us on the River Cree inbox, 780-218-9999 is presented by River Cree Resort and Casino, home of the Kitchen Restaurant. All you can eat surf and turf for just $59.99 every Friday from 4 to 10 p.m. We'll dive into some more Oilers discussion, and we got my top 3. It's going to be a good one. Here comes the Coop.
Eight games dot the NHL schedule, seeing the Caps take on the Flames. Dallas on the road in Vegas. The Hurricanes meeting the Rangers, and Montreal hosting Winnipeg. In Minnesota, the Wild are out without Kirill Kaprizov for at least a month as he requires surgery to fix a lower body injury. And the WHL has just 2 games, with Medicine Hat and Wenatchee dropping the puck before the Broncos challenge the Cougars. Elsewhere, the Eagles butt heads with the Grizzlies for the lone AJHL game on tap. Meanwhile, the Elks have released kicker Borris Bede, with Bede making 25 of 32 field goals with the green and gold last season. And on the court, there's just 4 games, with the Lakers tipping off against the 76ers, Houston taking on Atlanta, the Bucks throwing it down with the Trailblazers, while Golden State plays Utah. This sports update is brought to you by Sit and Sleep. Transform your home at a fraction of the cost during Sit and Sleep's winter clearance event. For massive discounts on major sleep brands to unbeatable deals on Canadian-made custom furniture, Sit and Sleep's winter clearance event is a can't miss. Plus, enjoy free local white glove delivery and special financing offers to help you bring home the best. Visit Sit and Sleep today in South Common, next to Planet Fitness. We have a quick timeout before the Reid Wilkins Show continues. I'm Zachary Kubish, and you're up to date.
Make a fresh start in the new year with Sentinel Storage. With convenient locations near you, Sentinel Storage is here to help you make space for everything 2024 holds. Sentinel Storage. Shop Canadian, store Canadian. Try 4 weeks free. Visit sentinelstorage.ca.
Got some gently used furniture or home goods that need a new home? Find Edmonton is here to help. Every month we furnish over 100 homes to those transitioning out of homelessness, and we need your gently used furniture and home goods. Drop off at 5120 122nd Street or call for free local pickup. Just visit findedmonton.com to learn how your donations can help create a home for someone in need. Plus shop our thrift store, in-store or online, with proceeds benefit those moving out of homelessness through housing supports. Visit us at findedmonton.com. Find Edmonton, supporting our community one home at a time.
The Canadian Ice House is taking your sports experience to a higher level. Trackman golf simulators are now open at the Ice House, an immersive and realistic golfing experience in the heart of downtown Edmonton. Visit in-store or at thecanadianicehouse.com for details.
Your home for live music and great performances is
the River Cree Resort and Casino.
On the patio, there's whiskey in the jar.
March 14th, don't miss the Kings of Celtic. The legendary Irish Rovers play the venue at the River Cree.
Hey boys, sing us a song. One of the old ones and we sing along.
Get your tickets at rivercreeresort.com.
River Cree Resort and Casino.
Excitement.
Tommy Gunn's Barbershop is more than just a barbershop. It's a top-notch, tailor-made experience from check-in to check-out. Get a precision haircut, a classic shave, or a facial to step up your style. Just walk in, relax, and let Tommy Guns take it from there. Find comfort in knowing their team follows the code, which is their commitment to care for you as a customer. Check out Tommy Guns today, in-store or online at TommyGuns.com to bring out the best in you. Tommy Guns, where every cut is done right every time.
All right, Stuart Skinner was back on the ice for the Oilers today at Rogers Place. Optional practice after the win over Seattle last night. The Oilers will play Detroit Thursday at 7, so we'll have the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show at 6 with Tom and Hernan. Hernan's going to join us for fun here in about 15 minutes or so. Tyler Palmer, Golden Bears goalie, will check into the show at 5 as he backed up Calvin Pickard last night. Give us a thumbs up if you're watching on YouTube. If you do it in the next minute or so, you'll probably be the 100th thumb because we're right there, and then we'll keep pushing for word of the day territory. Getting to 100 before the show's half over. Pretty good. Let's see how high we can go. I was kind of having some fun there with for GCL Diesel, the Oil Understood, because I said since November 1st, the Oilers are 27-10-2, which is 7-18, which is the number one points percentage in the NHL during that time. So I kind of said, and look, I was being a little cheeky here, but I was like, what's the problem with the Oilers? Like, what are you really so concerned about, given how they're playing lately? Now, I got a couple. Well, Reid, but we can say, yes, everybody, you can have whatever opinion you want. We are here to listen to you. We are here to address and maybe just help you with your concerns. Okay? It was, but the point of what I was doing was like, hey, things are actually pretty good. Because in October, we were all talking about things aren't that good. Things are pretty good. Yeah. Are there concerns? Sure. Could things go wrong in the postseason? Yeah, sure. I'm just saying we don't know what's going to happen there yet. So why worry about it? And I always think about it this way too, folks. The ultimate goal, and we want the Oilers to get there. Well, I assume Oilers fans listening do anyway. We probably have some, I know we have some Jets fans out there. But this is relevant to Jets fans as well. Here's the top 4 teams in the league. Washington, Winnipeg, Edmonton, and Vegas. right? At least 2 of those will not make the Stanley Cup final. And at least one of them won't make it past the second round because Edmonton and Vegas are in the same division, right? So it's tough. I'm just saying, my perspective is, I'm just saying, hey, take a step back and realize this team is good. And it's okay to have concerns. It's okay to ask us questions. It's okay for you to say, hey, Reid and Jay, I'm not sure about this guy. What's going to happen? I'm not denying that. I'm not rejecting that. But I'm also saying, just remember in your head, oh, hey, we're getting over 70% of our points for like 3 months. That's pretty good. Points in the bank. Not a bad thing. I guess I'm saying smell the oil-covered roses.
Well, I mean, that's why many would say or suggest that the Stanley Cup is the hardest championship to win in the Big Four. Anyways, North American professional sports, right? It ain't easy.
No.
It's not easy. Reid, this comes in from Kai. Oilers fans looking for the perfect season. Anything below 1,000 winning percent is not acceptable. And Ryan from Saskatchewan says, preach, Reid. It's like people about the win last night on the postgame. Come on. These are the good old days.
Somebody, I got to give credit to, I wish I knew who it was. Probably not the first person to said it, but I think I was on with Stoff one day, and somebody said, you got to remember, like they said, McDavid this, the power play this, Draisaitl this guy's doing this. Let's remember, these are the good old days. These are what we're going to be talking about. And this is what I said, like, enjoy McDavid and Draisaitl together. I mean, I get it. On one hand, Oilers fans are passionate. They know the game very well. They know the team well. They know what they would do if they were the coach or the GM. So I get there's that one reaction, oh, they should have McDavid and Draisaitl apart. It's just, you know. But I also say have that part of your brain where, oh my God, look at these guys. Like there was a one cycle in the offensive zone yesterday where I was just like, this is, I almost used a word I'm forbidden from using. This is beautiful.
Yeah.
Like there was a couple passes where I thought for that split second when McDavid or Draisaitl first releases the pass, and you've probably had this moment too, Jay, where I think, oh, turnover. Like, what are they doing? Oh, they're too cocky. And it's like, oh, right to where Leon is. Yeah, I'm above the ice with this awesome bird's eye view, and I couldn't see the passing lane that McDavid or Draisaitl saw.
Unreal.
Yeah.
And let's be clear. I don't think anything that you're saying, Reid, is suggesting that you can't critique this team. Critique away. I mean, that's what fans are for. That's what the media is for. You can be passionate in that respect. I'm just saying that
there are going to be moments if they continue playing well where I might just say, okay, you know what? You're nitpicking. They're still winning. Like, show me a perfect team. You can't in the NHL.
And take a 10-mile view at some point and realize just the greatness that you get to watch as an Oilers fan night after night after night. Because, you know, let me ask you this, Reid. How many years of what's the word? McDavid-esque and Draisaitl-esque play do you think they have?
They're about halfway through their careers, right? I would say.
And it doesn't,
So they play till
they're coming through some of their youngest
37,
years.
38. Who knows? Maybe at the end of their careers, they go sign for 1 year somewhere else. You never know.
Soak it in.
Yeah. But I do get, well, you got to win a cup. You got to win. And I get it.
Sure.
If you and I are doing this show 10 years from now and they both retired or moved on and they haven't won a cup, it's going to be like, oh man, they never did it. It's going to be a little bug. They might do all these beautiful things and get all these points and maybe even win a ton of playoff series. I mean, as we've been saying, they are well on their way to a 6th straight playoff appearance.
Oh, I think if they did not, if they did not bring home at least one Stanley Cup, that would be a big issue.
Because that was with Ovechkin, and then I think, was it year 13 for him? He finally won.
It was later than expected.
Now he doesn't have to answer that.
Yeah.
Imagine if this year he had to answer the questions about the goal record. And is this now your team's first overall? Is this the year you finally win a cup in year 20 or whatever it is?
That's like Dan Marino every day.
He went to a Super Bowl first or second year, right? Yeah. So anyway, let's see what happens. I guess I have a very simple message. Enjoy the ride.
Sure.
Because there are a lot bumpier rides than the one that this team is on.
And if you're going to complain. What are you going to do? It's just your outlook on how things are. There's people that get paid to complain for a living.
Really?
I think so.
Politicians?
Maybe. See that sign over there that says no politics on the show? Come on, Reid.
Yeah, I wasn't suggesting that. All right. 780-218-9999 is the River Cree inbox. Did I do a second one? I'll do one now. The afternoon inbox presented by River Cree Resort and Casino, home of the kitchen restaurant, all you can eat surf and turf for just $59.99 every Friday from 4 to 10 p.m. Do we have any, maybe we can save my top 3 for when Hernan is here. Do we have any more staff meeting nightmare stories?
No, I haven't seen any other ones come through. Nope, nothing.
We had some good, the one about the guy farting during the meeting, because they were all, was that the one they all got drunk?
They got canned.
And they all got fired? Not for farting during a meeting.
No, for showing up to a meeting drunk. I wouldn't suggest that. That wouldn't be.
No, I would not suggest showing up to any work environment.
Didn't have that one on my bingo card.
Drunk.
Today.
No. Good.
Yeah, but yeah, it is. I don't know. I guess it is. It's like you go to a concert and a fan or a listener stands up the whole time, and you're sitting behind them and you're saying, "Come on, sit down." Well, they paid for that seat. They can do whatever they want in the space that consumes that seat. A lot of Oilers fans, if you feel like you still want to moan and talk about just the smallest minute details, go ahead, fill your boots. That's not, I don't think, the context of this. This is just a simple reminder to say, hey, this team is really good.
Yeah, they
really
are really
good.
like they are really good.
Like really good.
Yeah, like I'm trying to think that like again, once they killed off that 2-man disadvantage, I thought, okay, they're winning the game. Because I thought, all right, this is precarious. So you look back, hey, that's a vital moment of the game. You got to win that section of the game, that minute 6 to get through the 2-man advantage, and then the rest of the other penalty. And then once it's 2-1 after that, I thought, okay, they're winning the game. Somebody's going to make a play or they'll do something. And by the way, this is really interesting for me, and I'm sure for a lot of people in oil country. Corey Perry being revered by Oilers fans. Somebody, I can't remember who it was.
I saw what you're talking about.
Yeah, so it was when...
Hate him, really hate him. Like the list of years, right?
Oh, no, but this is a different thing. There was what game was it? But there was something happened with the refs, and Corey Perry was the one that went over to discuss during the penalty box, right? And so it's just him standing there in an Oilers jersey with, holding his stick, waiting to talk to the refs. And somebody posted that and said, imagine taking this photo back to 2017 and trying to explain it to your younger self.
Oh, my word. Yeah, that would be a little, that would be a mine, what. Who do you think is going to make the most noise in the staff meeting tonight?
Most noise?
Well, okay. I hate to break it to you, but there's going to be somebody that's going to show themselves as the person that's just going to ask unnecessary questions. Just to... Coob already put his hand up.
Yeah, Coob.
Is it?
Now that you know it might be you, Coob.
Coob,
don't be the one. Don't be the one.
Do not be the person that just asks the question.
Focus and listen during the meeting.
You ask pointed questions, young man.
There's no stupid questions, only stupid answers.
No, there is stupid questions. Trust me. There is. Ones that have already been answered, and you're asking a question again.
What's a stupid question?
Hello, Boone.
Can you see him? No.
Hey, Boone. Maybe go to the wide shop. Maybe we'll get Boone in there.
No, he's gone.
Boone the dog's here. What a great day. I came in this morning and I did not know there was a massive dog in the office. And he came up and nudged his nose into my side, and I might have yelled like a little girl.
He's a great dog.
Great dog.
He's a great dog. All I'm going to say to Ron Nelson today is that, first of all, I care about you a lot, and I appreciate you a lot as a nasty and an audience member of this show. And you're specifically one of the fans I worry about, and I really want you to be happy. Because you saw what was written there.
Mm-hmm.
Just breathe. Just breathe. Go on the Wikipedia page for the Oilers season, because you know how in Wikipedia they put the wins in green and the losses in red, and I think that overtime losses are in orange or gray or something like that. Just go look at the last 3 months and just look at all the green and just breathe, bro. That's all I'm telling you. Just breathe. Look at all the green.
We can do it together. Reid, I want to get to your top three.
I'm glad people are talking about Gary Bettman in the nasty chat.
Oh boy,
he's one of my top threes coming up, which is going to be incredible. Hernan Salas is going to join us as well. We're getting ready for the staff meeting. Somebody said, "Who's most likely to fart during a staff meeting?" Silently, me. Loudly would be Jay.
Yes, let's do it.
All right, here comes the coup.
On the ice, the Bruins battle the Sabres. The Avs match up against the Islanders. Tampa Bay hosts Chicago, while the Ducks meet the Kraken, having 8 games in the NHL. Elsewhere, the Tigers play the Wild, and Swift Current battles Prince George in the WHL, and in the AJHL, Canmore visits Olds. Back in Edmonton, Borris Bede, veteran kicker, has been released by the Elks after hitting just under 78% of his field goals for the Double E last season. And in basketball, Milwaukee takes on Portland. The Hawks and Rockets tip off. The Jazz battle the Warriors, while the 76ers and Lakers hit the court on a 4-game NBA slate. This sports update is brought to you by Windsor Plywood Leduc. Locally owned and operated, serving Leduc and surrounding areas since '93. They have doors, flooring, baseboards, and of course plywood. Go see the knowledgeable staff today at Windsor Plywood Leduc. And we have a quick break before Hernan Salas, host of EST Afternoons, joins the Reid Wilkins Show. I'm Zachary Kubish, keeping you in the loop.
Get your fix every single game with the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame and postgame shows with Tom Gazzola and Hernan Salas. Whether it's breaking down the starting lineup, predicting key matchups, or diving deep into the game's biggest moments, Tom and Hernan are here to give you the best insight and analysis in the city. After the final horn, get the breakdown of every key moment, performance, and player reactions. It's your one-stop shop for all things game day. Catch the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame and postgame shows with Tom Gazzola and Hernan Salas, only on Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton sports.
If you've been injured in a car collision, let James H. Brown and Associates, Alberta Injury Lawyers, protect your interests. They'll be there every step of the way to help answer your questions and help you get your life back on track. Trust Alberta's precedent-setting injury lawyers with their unrivaled experience, unrivaled results, and unrivaled commitment. When accidents happen, call James H. Brown and Associates, Alberta Injury Lawyers, 780-428-0088, or go to jameshbrown.com.
Since 1952, William Huff has been the heartbeat of Edmonton's advertising world. From humble beginnings to a citywide powerhouse, we've been the go-to for signage from print to design and installation. Partnering with Edmonton's top sports franchises and major events, we've helped shape the city's global reputation. Our secret? Unmatched customer service, decades of experience, and a passion for excellence we call the William Huff Advantage. Visit us online at williamhuff.com.
Food Sausages makes their meat with nothing but the best local ingredients. From chicken, beef, and pork, their gluten-free sausages are packed with flavor. Every single bite. Get a 10% discount when mentioning Edmonton Sports Talk in-store or use the code EST when shopping online at foodsausages.ca. Plus, you get free delivery on orders of $100 or more. Find them at 6736 99th Street. Food Sausages. You can't beat our meat.
All right, thanks for joining us this afternoon. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, keep giving us the thumbs up on YouTube. We're getting close to 130. We want to get there, so Jay gives me at least one word of the day before we sign off. Appreciate your submissions. The off-topic topic for William Huff. Thanks, Coop. Yeah, we had a bit of a hiss there. I think it's gone now.
Well done, Coop.
Good job, Coop. Yeah. You know what? We'll get you a new set of dice for your
Dungeons and Dragons.
a little bit later on. You just go in front of the camera. We know you got to. Oh, you will. Hernan, say something.
Test 1 2. Test 1 2.
Sounds good to me.
We have Hernan.
All right.
Hernan Salas is here. How you doing, buddy?
I'm good, man. Like you said, I think in your intro, when there's a dog in the office, it just makes everything better.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah. He's a beautiful
I think
dog,
Gage just took him out.
He is a beautiful dog.
What kind of dog is
Hey,
he?
Gage, what breed is that dog?
Gage.
Right.
Bernese Mountain Dog.
Right. And I know.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and Gage has had at least one other because I know he had Zeus up until a few years ago, and now he has Boone, who's welcome here anytime. Pretty good.
I don't think Dusty's a dog guy.
He's not.
He's not.
Oh, does he like any sort of animal?
Well, I think
I had dogs on the farm.
Yeah.
Well, he doesn't like city dogs.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
interesting. Well, they're the same animal. Like the behavior doesn't change that drastically. They eat and they sleep and they crap.
Outside dog.
Oh, you only
Outside
like
dog.
outside dogs. So a dog in the building, so Boone has you all rattled. Well, hey, I'm gonna give you a hint. I'm gonna tell you a hint here. I'm gonna give you a hint here. You're the owner of this station. You can ban the dog from the property. Oh, now he likes the dog. I don't even know what's happening anymore. Something for the staff meeting tonight.
Yeah, put that on
Does
the notes.
Dusty like dogs or not?
the dog will be part of the meeting.
The dog will be
Yeah,
part of the
yeah,
meeting. We'll
nice.
keep everybody happy. All right, Hernan, thanks for hopping on.
Yeah, of course.
You're going to help with my top three.
Oh, okay.
So, Reid's top three is presented by Food Sausages, the best sausages you will ever eat, locally made, packed full of flavor. Order online or visit them in store at 6736 99th Street. Take advantage of their EST discount, 10% off your order by entering online code EST or just mention Edmonton Sports Talk in store. As Food Sauces says, you can't beat our meat. So as you know, Hernan, we've gotten to know each other quite a bit. We love working together. But I'm very much like, tell me what you think.
Okay.
But I want to know why you think that.
Okay.
So my top three, this is not you personally. You're just here to either help me or help the listeners or do whatever you want.
Yeah.
We didn't pre-plan any of this.
I'll just sit here.
My top three, it's my top three things I challenge you to change my mind about.
Okay.
So this is the royal you, anybody listening or anybody here in the studio. Because sometimes I say things.
Okay.
And I notice that people in the nasty chat or on the text line get upset that I say those things.
Okay.
And they don't agree with me. So I got to give them some time here. So it's the top three things I challenge you to change my mind about.
Okay.
Number one, NFL officials do not favor the Kansas City Chiefs.
I think they do. I think if you look at their right tackle for the last two seasons, always moves before the ball is, what's the proper term here?
Snapped.
That's snapped to Mahomes. So I think they do favor him. Look at you guys broke it down, not this last game, but the game before. The roughing the passer calls were terrible.
Well, that one especially,
and,
yes.
Yeah, and he was trying to like initiate contact on a few and try to get the flop and all that. So I don't think it's on every call, but I do think they get the benefit of the doubt on a lot of them, and that's because they're a championship pedigree team, a veteran team with a veteran coach, Andy Reid. So I do think the officials do give them some calls.
Even if it's like, but here's my thing. I don't think there's a conspiracy for the league to help the Chiefs.
No, they don't need it. They don't. Like the league doesn't need to help the Chiefs win Super Bowls. I think the officials, I think all officials have a little bit of a bias. I do. And I think they like certain players more than others. I think depends how those players treat them as well, and they'll give them benefit of the doubt calls. I truly believe that in every sport.
Okay, I got to first of all, I found this website this morning when DVD was on, because DVD was like, well, the Chiefs never get called for holding. Actually, they were one of the most penalized teams in the NFL for holding this season. But it simply is just NFLpenalties.com. And if you click the little magnifying glass in the corner, you can select the type of penalty, which teams you want, which weeks you want. You can sort by referees. It is incredible. Now, Dallas was the most penalized team in the NFL this season, 9.7 per game. The Chiefs were lower down, 7.05 at 24th. I just don't... Okay, first of all, the spot was bad.
Terrible.
The previous game, the second roughing the quarterback was bad when he scrambled. The first one I could understand why he called. But here's what I argue. And yes, I have seen calls that have favored the Chiefs, but I have also seen calls that have favored other teams. I think they get magnified because people pay more attention to the calls that help the Chiefs, or let's face it, the calls that help McDavid. So here in Edmonton last week, why don't they call holding on McDavid? Why don't they go? Other teams are like, that little bastard McDavid, he just gets touched and it's a penalty on us.
They missed one yesterday on Riker Evans, interference.
Oh, yeah, that should have been a call. That should have been a call.
Right, Jay?
Yeah.
Oh, when who was coming in over the line? That was McDavid. And he just
got in front of him.
He just laid in front of him.
Yes.
I think McDavid stopped because he's like, this is a penalty. Wait, this is not a penalty?
Down, and then we're all like, Kate, that's why I'm saying a penalty's a penalty. Call it. I don't care if it's 6-1 in favor of one team. Jay, what do you think of the Chiefs? Do you think they get the benefit of the doubt on calls?
Oh, 100. I think the Chiefs are in on the I think the refs are in on the payroll from the Chiefs.
Here we go.
I think the head ref in the Super Bowl is Andy Reid's cousin's brother-in-law. I don't know the facts, but that's what I think.
But they do get a lot of calls in their favor. Now, I don't watch every team, Reid, so it's very hard to say how many teams.
And as I also say, they're on the national game more.
Exactly.
And one of the worst calls I've seen in the playoffs was the Bills receiver throwing down the Ravens receiver and catching a touchdown, and the flag came in, and it was defensive pass interference. So the touchdown stood. Yeah. So stuff happens. But I also think people are tired of the Chiefs. Some people are looking for to hate them. And quite frankly, the Taylor Swift thing plays into it. Some people don't like seeing her on TV. Don't like the stuff with Kelsey, and it just leads into, they get favoritism. So you make a good presentation. You didn't quite change my mind. Sorry. I didn't know if you were going to.
What do you guys think about the theory? Because this has been brought up before, and obviously it's just a theory, but since the evolution of sports gambling, and it used to be you could only bet in Nevada. So otherwise it would be bookies and illegal sites, but now it's everywhere. Right? And what was the name of the fellow, the NBA ref? Tim. I
can't remember that point shaving.
Shaving.
Yeah, I have no doubt there's shady stuff that has happened.
Soccer,
I don't know if
it's happening in soccer. Yeah.
Right. So it just may happen that 30 years from now we realize that this could be very happy because, like you said, these are humans. Mm-hmm. I have biases in a lot of different instances.
Of course. Yeah.
Right. So at the end of the day, they are just humans, and they're all, privy to the same type of temptations as everyone else.
All right. This is my top 3 for food sausage, things I challenge you to change my mind about. Number 2, Gary Bettman has done a great job as NHL commissioner.
I'd say yes. And listen, speaking of bias, I'm biased here in Edmonton because without him, the Oilers are not here anymore. They're not. Like, go back, and they were about to leave, and then the Nicholson group came in. He's the one that, the salary cap, might like it, but the reason the Oilers are still in the league is because of the salary cap. I find it weird that here in Edmonton we boo Gary Bettman. And listen, I know why he annoys everybody. It's the same reasons he annoys me. He's just a little twerp and he's got attitude, and it's his way or the highway, but for me, as an Edmontonian, the Oilers are still in this great city because of Gary Bettman. And yes, I know the lockouts and all that. We missed an entire season. And there's another one that was a half a season and all that. But it's all been, for me at least, for the better of the game. And I think it's in a good spot. And I think Gary Bettman's done an excellent job, Reid. So I can't change. Oh, no.
You can't change my mind there.
No,
you can't change my mind.
I agree with you.
Yeah, well, here's what I think. From an Edmonton perspective, he did fight for the Oilers as much as he could. He fought for the new arena. I mean, I know when Cates and Mandel went to the NHL offices to New York to negotiate, they weren't in the same room.
Oh, wow.
Bettman was physically going back and forth. And here's the thing about Bettman. And I don't think I'm going to change people's minds, but it's come up probably within a couple of years he's going to move on. I mean, isn't he 73? Didn't we look that up the other day? I mean, he's going to have the next phase of his life. It is Gary Bettman's job to deal with all the crap so the owners don't have to. Like I'm sure he says behind the scenes, we can go to a lockout. If you guys believe in this, like it's not... I know people say, well, Gary Bettman locked out the players. Well, no, he didn't.
Yeah.
Gary Bettman did what the owners wanted to and then was the face of it.
Yeah.
So Gary Bettman wasn't saying, okay, Murray Edwards in Calgary and when Pocklington was here or whoever owned them when, the first lockout, like in 94, 95, I'll deal with it. I'll deal with it. Like, that's why they pay him several $1 million a year. That's a good point.
Yeah.
He's basically paid to be the bad guy. So, like, for the people who hate him, he takes all that heat, so so he's like the unified voice of the Oilers, of the owners. Like he tells them, hey, if you want to do this, I'll do it and I'll front it publicly, but all you guys shut up to the media and to the fans.
Yeah.
I'll do it.
Yeah.
You don't if you're fine with Arizona playing in a 5,000 seat stadium, I'll polish it up. Right? Fine, I'll do it. But you guys shut up and find a new city. Go find a new find a new billionaire for me.
No, listen. Is he perfect? Has he made mistakes? Is he a little blind to a few topics that have been brought up lately? Sure. About the officials and all that kind of stuff, the Arizona issue. Sure. Of course he's not perfect. But for me, I don't look at Gary Bettman and say, bad guy, you've been terrible. No, I look at it the other way. Yeah, he's missed on some things, but he's like you said, he's the bad guy. And yeah, he's held a lot of lockouts, but I think the game is in a better place. And I think the Oilers are in an extremely better place thanks to him.
I wonder when it became the new, it was accepted that every commissioner got booed. Because they do now.
Do they?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, in the NFL.
Goodell
do
gets
it in
booed.
the NBA?
Oh, well,
Adam
Jasmine
Silver,
just
yes.
wrote, how come Adam Silver is well liked? He has the same job. I don't know enough about what he's done as NBA commissioner, but
I couldn't say that either.
But Bettman's been doing it longer, and he's had to guide the league through more crap that fans are going to get mad about.
100%.
And again, he's totally willing. And you've heard me talk about interviewing him. Like he's persnickety.
Yes, that's
right?
a good idea. Yeah.
Like, if he doesn't like the question, he'll basically tell you he doesn't. So I kind of enjoyed interviewing him because you got to find a way to maybe get him to laugh or get him to answer. Because if you ask the question a certain way, he'll just answer it that way. Like some people will be like, "Oh, okay, he didn't ask the great question, but I know what he meant."
Yeah.
Like if you don't ask Bettman, if he's like, "Okay, well, no, that's not true." Like you got to work, and I don't mind that. But yeah, he's paid to be the bad guy, Hernan. Like that's a great way that you put it. Like
he is. So, and for the younger generation, like the Cubes and the YouTube Trevs, like trust me, the Oilers were very close to leaving.
Yes,
very close.
But that's, and again, he knows the job. He's committed to the job, and I mean he has. Even if we don't agree with all the cities in which he's expanded to, he's helped the league grow. And a lot of it comes down to the revenue. Yep. I mean, the salary cap. I heard you guys and Dustin's on the two guys on the goalie. What were they going to pay Bouchard? Well, the cap might go up by $6 million.
So it might not
because there's
matter.
more revenue. So the coaches and players might be like, "Well, I think he's a jerk, but the money's coming in." That's a crass way to look at it. So anyway, I know there's a lot of Bettman criticism in the nasty chat. But
of course. I mean, because you always look to the...
But he's done his job.
Yes. You always look to the bad, right? Like, that's just the way it goes in sports. But overall, again, he's not perfect. He's made mistakes. He said some stupid things. But overall, especially here in Edmonton, we should be applauding him. I will.
And he's got a very much so punchable face.
Yes, he does.
Like, you have to take that into consideration.
And like you said, when he's getting interviewed and he doesn't like a question, you're like, come on, Gary. Like, just because sometimes he's not being honest.
Yeah, there was one time, I think it might have been the first time I interviewed him, and it was at a draft, and I was stuffed into a place, and I couldn't even have my laptop on a desk. Like, I literally had my laptop on my lap, and he squeezed in, and then he's standing.
Yeah.
So it was really weird. And it was still like, it was a Coyotes question. Like, that's how long. And I remember I started a question. He put his hand on my shoulder and was like, no. And he just cut me off and just gave the part. And I'm like, all right. But then I was like, hey, I gotta, every time, I think I wound up doing 3 or 4 with him, including one during the Stanley Cup final. All right. My third top 3 thing I challenge you to change my mind about. Spider-Man / Peter Parker is the greatest fictional character of all time. Here's my argument.
Okay.
Longevity.
Okay.
Still interesting. Still sells a lot of comics, gets put in movies and TV shows. And just the ongoing journey of that character, how he's constantly motivated by guilt and love is always interesting to me.
I might not, because first of all, I'm not a big superhero guy, Reid. So but if you had to ask me, I'd say Batman. But I really can't, because the reasons you just gave are all excellent. Longevity. What was the other one? Love and...
That he's motivated by guilt and love. Really to be a good superhero.
I absolutely love that. I got to think a little bit more on this one. Fictional characters. I mean, if you had a superhero draft, who would be number 1? Superman, Batman, or Spider-Man? I think that's...
Yeah, I think in Canada, Wolverine would be up there.
I know they did
Captain America, maybe, yeah. But like Batman's pretty popular. I admit that. Superman's popular. I don't find Superman as interesting though.
Like you can change clothes in a phone booth. That's pretty cool.
Puts him over the top, and his disguise is just like. See, I just on YouTube. I just took my glasses off. If I was in the DC universe, nobody would recognize me.
But you're all going to Marvel or DC characters.
That's what I mean. Because
I said Spider-Man. Greatest fictional. Okay, I upped the because when I told Jay, I said I was going to put comics, and I was like, no, I'm going to put all time.
Sherlock Holmes.
That's a good one.
That's a good one.
Smart, usually portrayed by a good-looking man. Knows his science.
Been around a long time.
And
if you just like the books, that's a great fictional character.
Would Bond be a good one?
Bond would be Homer. Like, if we're just talking fictional characters, like Homer Simpson. Like, think about it.
I don't know about the best, though. Like,
he's up there.
Indiana Jones?
Yeah.
Be Harry Potter for a lot of people.
James Bond, you dress well. Always drinking martinis.
Yeah. That's what I mean. Usually Sherlock Holmes is portrayed by a sharp-dressed man in a cloak, and he gets the beautiful woman, and he's very smart. He's got a scientific mind.
Did he womanize in the books?
In my mind, he does.
I haven't read them, but in the books, the fan fiction I write in the Milne household, Jay in the basement. When are you coming to bed, Jay? Oh, just on the computer. Sherlock glanced across the bar. He was glad Watson had gone home early.
Fun fact, Mary Strakowski was married to a Bond girl.
Isabel Scorupco, something like that. Isabella Scorupco, something like that.
Gage knows her.
Didn't Gage say he was one of the most beautiful men he's ever seen in his life?
Yes. And the wife, he goes, they were the most beautiful couple. They were just beautiful people. And yeah, anyways.
This is a great list. Oh, Captain Kirk? It'd be, I don't know if he'd be the greatest, but he's a well-known one. Played by a Canadian. We'll have to do more in depth on that. All right, Hernan, you're the best. Thanks for joining us, courtesy Food Sausage.
That was a fun topic. I like that one. Yeah, I'm sticking with James Bond. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay.
Because I like him too. Well, we got Tyler Palmer from the Golden Bears and briefly from the Oilers coming up on the Reid Wilkins Show with Jason Milne.
Wake up with the Nielson Show with Dustin Nielson and Lieutenant Eric. Weekday mornings 6 to 9 on EdmontonSportsTalk.com.
You've
You've always known GCL Diesel as the experts in diesel fuel systems, but did you know that GCL is also your source for turbochargers and turbo repair? As a turbo supplier for Garrett, Borg Warner, and Holset, GCL can provide genuine original equipment turbos at wholesale prices. Whether it's diesel, gas, natural gas, or performance, we can provide you with the turbo or custom repair you require. Turbo questions? We've got turbo answers. Visit us in the West End or online at gcldiesel.com. GCL Diesel, turbochargers, understood.
You want the heavy hitters on your team, both on and off the ice. If you've been injured in a car accident, call the heavy hitters of injury law. James H. Brown and Associates, Alberta Injury Lawyers. With over 200 years of combined injury law experience, their precedent-setting lawyers are ready to help. Locally owned and proud Edmonton Oilers fans, James H. Brown and Associates wants to support you with their unrivaled experience, unrivaled results, and unrivaled commitment. When accidents happen, head to jameshbrown.com.
Looking for quality building materials and friendly advice? Visit us at Windsor Plywood Leduc, family owned and locally run since 1993. From interior materials for doors, flooring, baseboards, and all the finishing touches to all you need for your outdoor projects like cedar lumber for decks and fences, plus all the plywood you'd need. Our full-time on-staff carpenter can help with anything odd-sized or custom, and from domestic hardwoods to exotic selections, we've got you covered. And if we don't have it, we'll track it down for you. Windsor Plywood Leduc. We're the experts you need to know.
Make a fresh start in the new year with Sentinel Storage. With convenient locations near you, Sentinel Storage is here to help you make space for everything 2024 holds. Sentinel Storage. Shop Canadian, store Canadian. Try 4 weeks free. Visit sentinelstorage.ca.
Four games just about to get underway in the NHL with the Jets meeting the Canadiens, the Sabres playing the Bruins, Carolina on the road in New York to take on the Rangers, and the Blackhawks challenging the Lightning with Andrei Vasilevsky out of the game due to illness, having emergency goaltender Kyle Konen dressing as Tampa's backup. For the Wild, Kirill Kaprizov requires surgery to fix a lower body injury and is expected to miss at least 4 weeks. Elsewhere, the WHL sees just 2 games, having the Broncos facing the Cougars and Medicine Hat challenging Wenatchee. Meanwhile, in the AJHL, it's the Grizzlies and Eagles dropping the puck. In the CFL, the Elks have released kicker Borris Bede after he suited up last season in Edmonton, going 25 for 32 on field goals. Down south, Utah battles Golden State. The Bucks tip off against the Trailblazers. Atlanta and Houston duke it out, while the Lakers and 76ers throw it down. I'm Zachary Kubish. That was your sports update. The final hour of the Reid Wilkins Show starts right now.
All right, thanks for joining us this afternoon. We're having a fun show. Oilers had an optional skate today. The Elks have released kicker Borris Bede. Portions of this hour presented by Canadian Brewhouse. NHL lives at the Canadian Brewhouse. Every Oilers game day, get $1 off tankards of Molson Canadian and Coors Light. You can win game tickets and 2 tickets to a surf and turf dinner at the end of the season. Full details at thecanadianbrewhouse.com. If you're in the nasty chat on YouTube, thanks. Good, a lot of chat in there today, but people more with each other than with us, which is perfectly fine. Remember to click the thumbs up button, as people are a little slow with the thumbs today. That's okay. But we got to get to at least 130, and we're almost there. So just go in and click, and then we'll have at least one word of the day. You can email Reid at EdmontonSportsTalk.com. I have the Big Ukes limerick. Here we go. On a night when all the staff will meet, an office dog through the door will greet. Oilers keep winning. Fans do be grinning. Who in the office has the stankiest feet? That is a good one from the Big Uke.
That is really good.
That is really good. Topical and nonsensical. Exactly what we like from our limericks. Everybody's here. Almost everybody's here.
It's weird.
People are here early.
It's weird.
Usually there's nobody here except the three of us, and now everybody's here for a 6 p.m. staff meeting. We are in the James H. Brown studio, James H. Brown Personal Injury Law Firm, the heavy hitters of injury law with over 200 years of experience. James H. Brown will get you the settlement you deserve. Visit them at jameshbrown.com today. Book your private consultation. Okay, very special guest joining us here. He's a goaltender for the U of A Golden Bears, and he was briefly a goaltender for the Edmonton Oilers because he served as the backup last night. It is Tyler Palmer checking in. Tyler, you're on with Reid and Jay. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing very well. Thanks for making time for us. I think you might have had a lab or an exam up until a few minutes ago, so we appreciate you hopping on. We'll start just generally with yesterday. Like, how did you find out, or when did you first get an inkling that the Oilers might actually need you on the bench last night?
I actually first thing yesterday morning, I got a call from a text actually, sorry, from Dustin Schwartz, just kind of asking what my availability was. He wasn't actually sure if they were going to need me or not, but he knew that Stu's baby was on the way, so he was kind of anticipating that he was going to be out of the lineup for last night. And then right around 12:30, he gave me the text to confirm that I was in.
Okay. What was your reaction? Like, did you start immediately telling people, or did you have to rearrange your day so you could, or maybe you were going to be the e-bug and up in the press box anyway? What was your reaction?
Yeah, well, originally I was trying not to get my hopes too high in case they didn't need me, just kind of in the morning until things were confirmed. So I kind of just went about my day as normal. And then yeah, once it was confirmed, then I started to I just started to get everything ready, and yeah, I told a bunch of friends and family, and then yeah, just kind of prepared like it was like a game day for me.
Tyler, when you're asked to be the e-bug, or in that, I mean, this is a different situation what happened last night, but I mean, because as a goaltender, the mental side of preparation is a huge part of your pregame. Is that something you can do from the seats in the stands, or wherever you sit as the e-bug? Are you going through mental reps in your head just in case, is staying sharp, so to speak?
I would say not so much in the stands, but definitely when you're backing up, you're definitely going through some mental preparation, and I mean even physical preparation as well. Getting warmed up, doing visual warm ups, that kind of thing. So yeah, definitely when you're the backup, you're definitely have to stay a little more prepared versus if you're in the stands.
I got to ask because, and I see it's coming in on our chat as well. And it's a big question. I mean, you go in there, you get the jersey, the number 40 with your name on it. Is that baby coming home with you last night, or is it, hey, maybe we'll need this another time?
No, they let me keep it. So that one will be going right up on my wall.
Cube, if we play the Pickard clip, will Tyler be able to hear it? Okay, so I don't know if you heard this already, but Calvin Pickard was asked about you after the game, and here's what the Oilers goalie had to say.
Saw him in warm-ups today. He was dialed in. He looked really good, but no, great kid. Awesome to have him. He was a good soccer player actually before the game too. So no, it was nice to have him. Obviously, a cool experience for him tonight, and he's 1-0. All
right. Well, what is it? How does it make you feel hearing that from Pickard?
Yeah, I mean it's pretty cool. I was I don't think I've ever had so much adrenaline in a warm up before, but yeah, no, I felt unreal in warm ups. It was such a cool experience being able to go out there, and even before the game, like he was saying, with the soccer skills, playing sewer with all the guys, it was just a really fun night for me.
So I'm curious because teams have their routines, right? Like they go out on the ice in the same order, or they leave the warm-up in the same order, or they do the sewer ball and maybe they stand in the same spot. Was it, and I mean, you're there for one game, and I'm sure you're thinking like, oh, I don't want to be the reason McDavid felt off tonight or something. Did you sort of just sense, okay, it's okay for me to join now? Or were they kind of like, hey, we need somebody, Tyler, hop over here? Like, how was all that handled?
Yeah, no. Well, what happened was Pix was actually he kind of took me under his wing a little bit, which was really nice to have because we were both kind of in the warm up gym area, and they started playing sewer, and he asked me, he was just like, hey, do you play sewer? And I said, yeah, I usually do, and he said, hop in here, and I was like, okay. So yeah, it was they made me feel like really welcome, and just kind of brought me into everything. So it was really nice.
Tyler Palmer joining us here, Golden Bears goalie and backup to Calvin Pickard last night. One of the clips that was shown in the highlight package of the game last night was a clip where you were just heading up to stretch at the center ice line, and Connor McDavid came up and gave you a stick tap and said some words to you. What's Connor McDavid saying to you at that point?
I believe what he was saying then was he just asked me if I was getting settled in. He was just he just kind of gave me a tap on the back, and he said, "Hey, you getting all settled in, bud?" And I turned around and I went, "Yeah, thanks."
Okay, well, a cool experience for you for sure. Thanks for sharing how the day went. We want to talk about the team that you're with most of the time, the U of A Golden Bears. Saskatchewan's a big rival. I know they got you a couple times in close games on the weekend. You're in quite a dogfight with the Huskies in the division, aren't you?
Yes, we are. They're a solid team this year, and weekend didn't quite go our way. Especially Saturday was a bit of a rough night. We got into some penalty trouble, but the good news is that they're simple fixes, and I think we'll be all right headed forward.
All right. I always like to get to know the Bears players because I have a lot of respect for that program. You were with Victoria and Everett in the Western League, had some really good seasons. Tell me about the decision to join the U of A. I don't know if you had pro options or other schools were after you, but tell me about becoming a Golden Bear at the start of this season.
Yeah. I had a few offers, and U of A was one of the early ones actually, and obviously having the background that they do, honestly, it was a pretty simple decision for me, deciding to come to commit here. I was maybe seeing if I could get some pro offers, but none really came. So then I joined up here, and it's been great.
All right, and is it Trinity Western you have at home this weekend?
Yes.
Okay, and are you usually splitting the weekend pretty much down the middle? Is that how Ian's been handling the goaltending, or what's the situation with you and Ethan?
Yeah, so we were splitting up until just a couple of weekends ago. Ethan he tweaked his hip a little bit, so he was out of the lineup for a few weeks. So I was playing both games in that stretch, but it looks like he might be coming back pretty soon. So I'm not sure what this weekend's gonna hold for me, but I would expect to see him back in the lineup.
All right, and are you at the Oilers game on Thursday?
I'm not sure yet. I guess we'll find out.
Okay. Well,
not to my knowledge.
Yeah. Okay. Well, good for you that you got to have that experience. And thanks for coming on to talk a little bit with what's going on with the Bears as well, because we love following that program. And I hope we didn't take you away from too much schoolwork. I know you're a busy guy.
No, it was good. It's good.
Okay. Thanks, Tyler.
All right. Thank you.
Tyler Palmer checking in, U of A Golden Bears goalie and Oilers backup, at least for one game. So that was pretty cool. I know Knobloch got asked, well, after the empty netter, did you think of putting him in? I don't know if that would have been appropriate or not, but cool experience. And that's the number one question we've seen today. What did he get? What did he get to keep? Yeah. He got the jersey, everybody. Okay. And as you saw, the rest of the gear was
all Bears.
His all his Bears stuff. It looked cool, kind of seeing the green and gold pads.
Oh, I loved it
out there.
Yeah, I love seeing that. That is a nice sight for sure.
Yeah.
Just the experience. To be able to say that we're fortunate enough to work with Joaquin Gage, and sometimes you take for granted the level that he got to.
Yeah,
and you just don't realize how hard that is. But I was looking at his hockey DB during the interview, and it now lists the Edmonton Oilers on there.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I mean, that's something that you're never going to be able to take away from him.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I know D-Rock in the Nasty Chat says, surprised Bouchard didn't rip one at his head, LOL. What an awesome experience for Tyler. Having it played in the CIAU myself, that would have been a dream come true for me to have backed up for the Jets. And D-Rock says, Jeff Calvert played goal for the Huskies when I played. I remember Jeff Calvert because that was late 90s when I started volunteering for Stoff at CJSR. And I remember seeing Jeff Calvert in the Saskatchewan Nets. So I don't know who D-Rock does he say he's in Winnipeg? Is he one of the Winnipeg folks?
Well, he said he would have got called up for the Jets, so that would
So is he University of Manitoba? I don't know
I don't
know if he was a Bears goalie or somebody at the time. Anyway, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah, good for Tyler Palmer. Fun stories when Golden Bears guys get to do that. And I like how he said, and we're talking a lot about team behavior today based on our article as well. I'm not surprised that Pickard was like, hey man, like you're in, and McDavid was like, hey, how are you doing? Like they're getting ready for a game, but it's not as if they can't take 10 seconds to be a human being to the kid. Like they know what a thrill it is.
Well, for a brief moment, that's a member of your team.
Yeah.
That's your teammate. Make him feel at home. Because you know that kid's got way more jitters than you would ever have.
Right.
So a little calming presence from your captain, Connor McDavid, to come over and say, hey, you good? Yeah, I'm good. Probably puking in the bathroom before the game, but I'm good.
D-Rock from Winnipeg played for the Brandon Bobcats.
Ah, there you go.
All right. They're no longer in Canada West, right? They don't have hockey anymore.
I don't think they have hockey, but they're certainly
They
in
had
Canada
some tough
West.
years. I don't know if D-Rock was on those teams or not. D-Rock, if you were, I'm sorry if I brought back bad memories. They had some rough years, I think, in Canada West men's hockey. That's okay. Give Tyler and us the thumbs up on YouTube. We are on the cusp of 130. We want to get to at least that to get in one word of the day. So don't hesitate. Don't delay your pleasure. And tell a couple friends to check out the show. Subscribe to Edmonton Sports Talk on YouTube or on iHeartRadio or on the TuneIn Radio app. And we want to keep building our listenership. Sound fair?
Fair.
If you're texting us, it's 780-218-9999. That's the afternoon inbox, presented by River Cree Resort and Casino, home of Tap 25 Restaurant. The entire menu, 50% off 7 days a week from 2 to 5 p.m. It's a very boisterous Edmonton Sports Talk office this afternoon as everybody's getting ready for the staff meeting at 6 by watching Dusty. Who's he playing?
Hernan.
Dusty and Hernan playing Tecmo.
Lions Chiefs.
And D-Rock says that Brandon, the basketball program was outstanding. Jerry Hemmings, yes. And then Jerry Hemmings, I don't know if he was directly replaced by Barnaby Craddock, but Barnaby Craddock, the Golden Bears coached Brandon before he came here. Anyway, 6 degrees of everything apparently on the show today. We got our game of the night, and who knows what else we'll chat about. Give us thumbs up on YouTube. We want to get to the word of the day. Here comes the Coop.
With 8 games tonight, 4 games are underway with the Hurricanes up 1-0 on the Rangers and the Blackhawks trailing 1-0 against the Lightning. Elsewhere, the Jets and Canadians are on the ice with the Bruins and Sabres battling, having all 4 games midway in the first. And the WHL sees 2 games with Medicine Hat and Wenatchee dropping the puck before the Broncos face the Cougars. Elsewhere, the Eagles butt heads with the Grizzlies for the lone AJHL game tonight. Meanwhile, the Elks have released kicker Borris Bede, with Bede making 25 of 32 field goals with the green and gold last season. And on the court, there's just 4 games with the Lakers tipping off against the 76ers, Houston taking on Atlanta, the Bucks throwing it down with the Trailblazers, while Golden State plays Utah. This sports update is brought to you by Advantage Sports Medicine and Physiotherapy. Get treated like a pro with their highly skilled crew. Whether you're recovering from an injury or looking to enhance your performance, Advantage Sports Medicine and Physiotherapy uses the same locker room approach that's trusted by the best in the game. Find them online at advantagesportmed.ca. We have a quick break before the Reid Wilkins Show returns. I'm Zachary Kubish, keeping you in the loop.
Get to know the winners, props, plays, parlays, and more with Nielson and Hustler. Weekday mornings at 11 on The Lock Shop. Only on EdmontonSportsTalk.com.
Hey Edmonton, ready to take advantage of lower rates and better pricing? South Fort Chevrolet in Fort Saskatchewan has you covered. From rugged trucks to sleek SUVs. And with over 40 years in business, you can trust that you're getting the best deal on your new ride. As the proud title sponsor of the Nielson Show, EST listeners can drive a little to save a lot with South Fort Chevrolet's transparent pricing and down-to-earth sales team. Visit us today in Fort Saskatchewan or online at southfortchev.com.
Hockey lives at the Canadian Brew House. Every Oilers game day, get $1 off tankards of Molson Canadian and Coors Light. Plus, you can win game tickets and a surf and turf dinner for two at the end of the season. Full details at thecanadianbrewhouse.com.
Looking for a winning strategy for your retirement? Contact me, Joaquin Gage at K4 Financial, where expertise meets dedication. I will always look for a careful approach to your retirement, ensuring your financial future is secure. From tailored strategies to clear, actionable advice, I'm here to guide you every step of the way. Don't leave your future to chance. Get in touch with me, Joaquin Gage, today at k4financial.ca or email joaquin.gage@k4financial.ca to start planning for a brighter future and a more secure retirement.
Your home for live music and great performances is
the River Cree Resort and Casino.
On the patio, there's whiskey in the jar.
March 14th. Don't miss the Kings of Celtic. The legendary Irish Rovers play the venue at the River Cree.
Hey boys, sing us a song. One of the old ones and we sing along.
Get your tickets at rivercreeresort.com.
River Cree Resort and Casino.
Excitement.
Very special guest joining us in the James H. Brown studio. James H. Brown Personal Injury Law Firm, the heavy hitters of injury law. With over 200 years of experience, James H. Brown will get you the settlement you deserve. Visit them at jameshbrown.com. Book your private consultation today. He is the host of the Nielson Show, 6 to 9 a.m. every morning. He's on the Lock Shop, Oil Stream, Two Guys and a Goalie. He owns the station. Dustin Nielson is here.
I had a hard time hearing Zach count us in. Hey, you hear how loud he is? 3, 2, like we're right here.
We've noticed. Yeah, I'm letting him work on some other things before I bring up the volume. So now that you've brought it up, thanks for saving it.
You don't need to yell as loud.
When they got headphones on, it's hard to hear though.
But you have headphones on.
You have headphones on too. Like
I know sometimes I've said it, but it's like I've got to make sure they hear it.
But even now you're yelling a little bit.
What? Huh?
You're a beauty, Zach. You're a beauty.
Yeah, don't change.
Everybody's here for the staff meeting at 6. So Dustin is here. First of all, thanks for hopping on here.
Yeah, no, happy to be here, boys. Thanks a lot. It's cool sitting in the middle seat.
Yeah, you've never been there.
I don't think I've ever been middle guy.
I was asking you, and I don't think there's no reason for you to have been middle guy.
No, I don't think there's ever been a reason for me to sit in this seat. I like it, actually. It's good.
Yeah, it's kind of fun.
Yeah.
I've been there. Well, I was there the first time I was on the station. Well, at least, I've been on the hangout. I guess the first time after being announced as an employee.
And Zach was sitting right here when we hired him. So
that's right. That's right.
Yeah, he sat right here when we hired him.
Was he?
It's a practicum review.
Did he scream when he was hired? I can't remember. I've seen the video.
I know he I didn't scream. He was almost speechless.
Yeah, I had nothing to say, and now I know only things to say.
I was gonna say it's the only time ever, but it was awesome. It was great.
Are you looking forward to the staff meeting?
Yeah, I am actually. I think we've got lots to discuss.
We've had
a very active staff meeting.
I think in the final segment we're going to ask, who's going to be the MVP because we do the point system.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
who's going to win plus minus? Who's going to take the staff meeting by storm? I already warned Zach for asking completely useless questions.
That's usually at least a -2.
Yeah. Do not do it.
Yeah,
not today, not tonight, buddy.
It's an evening meeting. We're gonna keep things moving here.
Yes.
But yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it. We got lots to discuss. Things are going good. Things we can do better. And I like how we set it up there. We're not gonna be jammed at the table because so many of us.
Yeah.
And now the meeting doesn't end until somebody pins Reid Wilkins. So there's enough room there for a little wrestle.
It's like a royal. What is that? I don't even know what that is.
I don't know
It's
either.
not a Royal
man.
Rumble exactly.
Yeah, something like that.
So
though.
once I'm pinned, the meeting
Then the meeting's
ends.
over. Yeah, the meeting ends when
That's
you're pinned.
somewhat funny and somewhat creepy.
Yeah, well,
I'm not afraid.
That describes the meetings very well.
That's
Yeah.
that's a good point.
Yeah.
All right. So you did something. Like you said, you were doing something this afternoon. And I was like, okay, that's cool. And then you were coming back and telling a story, and I was like, when did this happen? And you were like, no, that's what I just did. Are you allowed to talk about this?
I am allowed. Actually,
Okay.
I took notes while I was there. I took notes. Actually, to be honest with you, if it was my time there, I'd need about this much paper.
Oh, no.
It was not good, boys. So
If you're just on the audio
Yeah.
stream, he's got this EST scroll.
This is
It's
everything
now
Reid
been
brought
used
in.
twice.
Yeah. But it looks nice when you come in. We
It
look
does.
very official.
We look smarter with that there.
No, so I had a chance to. So this is the first time the Oilers have done it, and I think it was kind of in lieu of doing their golf tournament last year, simply because they went on such a deep run. It was tough to fit in a golf tournament for all the players. So they did a Oilers Players Charity Poker Tournament, and a bunch of clients got invited. We are not one of them, but Bruce from William Huff is. So he reached out to me. He said, "Hey, do you want to come play poker?" I was just like, "Sure." He goes, "You know how to play, right?" I said, "Yeah." And then him and the rest of his team, there's 4 of us. Him and the other 2 there didn't necessarily know much about poker. Mind you, I think the one guy's still in it. So he's been on a good run. I just got a text from
this
Bruce.
is still going live?
It's still going.
So
Oh, yeah.
some players might still be going.
Oh, there will still be players going. There was 13, 14 tables. The majority of the team was there. And it was great. So we had the 4 of us from William Huff on the table. There was 4 other guys that I didn't know. And then Bouchard was at our table and Nuge was at our table.
Oh, wow.
So it was good. I was talking to Nuge and I said, "You guys you play?" And they play a lot of Hold'em on the plane, apparently. They've got 2 tables pushed together. They have 4 on each side, so they can play eight men. I don't think they're doing a tourney. I think it's sort of just like buy in
Cash.
Let's go from there. So St. Matthias Ekholm is probably the most conservative, but also pretty good. I said Hyman gets very impatient, so if you take him out early, he'll be on tilt and you can get the rest of his chips. And we joked that Costa Rica qualifier I was in. I lasted 8 minutes. So that was a big joke this morning. You're like, who cares what you were wearing? Because it was business casual and we had this whole thing today. So I go down, I'm sitting there at the table. Nuge sits next to me. Bouchard's right across the way. Very first hand, I get ace, king of clubs.
No.
I'm
geez.
oh man. Here we go. So the flop comes out. I think there was 4 of us in, 5 of us in. Flop comes up and they were moving along quickly. I think we started with maybe 4,000 in chips, and it was 2 and 400. And quickly after that was 3 and 6. So they were trying to move it along quickly. So I was just like, you know what? I got to play this hand. And then the flop comes up, 3 spades, but a king of spades. So I'm like, I got king. Unless somebody's got the flush right now. I'm in a pretty good spot. So I bet. Everybody's bet. I don't think anybody raised. Then an 8 of diamonds came up. I was like, that doesn't really change too much. So I bet again. Bouchard raised me, and I was like, it wasn't a huge raise. So I was like, I'll call again. And then the 5th card came up, and it didn't change anything that was already out there. So I was like, well, unless he flopped a flush, I've got the best hand out there, I think. And so I checked. He checked, which I don't know why he checked. He could have bet and probably sucked me in for more. So I checked, he checked, and we flipped it over, and I had the kings. And then Bush had a flush, so he took half my stack on the very first hand. Very first hand, half my stack.
So he had what, 2?
He had 2 spades, and the 3 spades came up. So he had a flush on the flop. So I was kind of playing dead essentially at that point. And then I just sort of checked. I didn't get any hands, so I didn't play. We went all the way around. Leveled, came, lines went up. And then I get into the next hand I play was 12 hands later. And I had king 10 suited. Board came up with a king and no possible flush anywhere out there. So I'm thinking I'm in a pretty good spot.
Sure.
I checked. Nuge bet 1,000. There's another guy across the way who called him. I only had 1,100 left because Bouchard almost cleaned me out. So I was like, well, I got kings. There's nothing on the board flush-wise. So I only had 1,100 left. So I was like, I'll call. So Me, Nuge, this other guy. I'm all in. The other guy flipped over pocket sixes, so I had him beaten with kings. And then Nuge had pocket aces.
Oh,
flipped over pocket aces. I was like, you've got to be kidding me.
If anybody deserves them, that's what people in the nasty chat will be like, come on.
Yeah, it was tough.
The Nuge gets blessed.
But then what happened? This is funny. I sit around for, I don't know, 7, 8 more hands. Nuge gets in a big hand with a couple of guys. Comes down to him versus this one guy. There's nothing on the flop. The other guy goes all in. Nuge calls. The other guy, or Nuge flips over pocket kings. The other guy flips over pocket aces and beats him.
Jeez.
So he took me out on pocket aces, and then 7 hands later, he went out on pocket aces.
Oh wow!
So it was fun. It was a good event. I mean, they're raising a bunch of money, and it was good.
Was Connor playing?
Connor was there.
Was Leon playing?
Yeah, they were all there.
Okay.
Connor was at table just over. He outlasted me, but I don't know if he was longer than Nuge or not. Like it moves quick.
Sure.
You have
those
to build up
blinds
a
are
stack
big.
earlier. You're just going to get blinded out.
Let's face
right
it,
away.
it's cool the players are doing it, but they were probably also told it's done by this time.
Yeah. There's a dinner after at 6:30 or 7 that Connor's wife is hosting. So I'm not sure. I think some of them might have been sucked in for a little bit later on. But
I guess
maybe
with the schedule, and then they have the skills comp is on Sunday.
That's on. Sunday.
Yeah, so they're not
Sunday
that's
or
not
Saturday. It's the second.
Well, Saturday's the game against the Leafs.
Oh yeah. So Sunday. Yeah, we my son's hockey team got tickets to that.
No,
so we'll probably go to that.
No video poker. This is live poker where the team is getting together in person. Isn't that interesting?
That's nice.
Hey,
yeah, no VR.
Do you guys want to play poker?
No. We had
do
Dan
poker
Robson
night.
on from The Athletic. He
I
wrote that
heard about
article
this,
about the rise
You
of...
guys talked about this yesterday.
Yeah.
But I was in and out, and I was like, "What is this article?" Then I got in after the tournament, turned it on, and you guys were just rapping, and you're like, "What an article!" And I was like, "What article?" Because
Reid
I
can
kind of
send
been
it to
teased the last 2 days.
There's hard copies around the office too.
We're printing out hard copies now.
Yeah,
Reid something to discuss at the meeting.
It was black and white. It was black and white.
I hope so. We're out of
like,
color
where's
ink
all the
anyway.
paper?
So, okay. So what was? What was this? What was the?
Well, here's the headline.
Okay.
Where is it now? In the NHL, boozing is out. Edible cannabis and video games are in. That's the headline. So it's about how players are drinking less, but perhaps more likely to take cannabis to unwind or relax.
And they're not going out.
But also that they spend. So, we're not saying, you should go out and drink, but there is a little bit less spending time with your teammates.
Camaraderie.
So one of the things that they had, and a lot of players spoke anonymously, but one guy said, I turned around to talk to my teammate and he's got full VR goggles on. So it's not like just, he's playing he's playing Uncharted on his Switch. I don't know if Uncharted is still popular.
I don't know.
And I can still talk to him. It's like, no, he's got, so how do you even have a
Was
conversation?
this an Oilers survey or a league-wide?
They talked
League-wide,
about, they said over 3 dozen. So I said
All right,
around 40 and he didn't argue with me.
Yeah.
Stetcher's actually quoted in it, but a lot of guys were anonymous. And he said a lot of guys refused to talk to them.
I don't like, it's almost just a society thing.
Yeah.
When I was 23, I was like from 19 to 27, I was going out twice a week.
Yeah.
Like whether it was during the week to a pub or you're going after, like kids nowadays, and a lot of these guys would be viewed as kids compared to our generation. They just sit at home and play video games and play their buddies online. And I mean, I get the thing with gummies. I've had gummies. Like it chills you out.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's just the way like life is now for people in their 20s to early 30s. Maybe.
Well, they're more aware than ever about what you put into your body. So maybe even for them to have one beer once a week, they're like, I'm not even going to bother. Like I don't like it. I never got into it. And I brought this up with Dan Robson, one of the co-writers. Like I said too, a lot of these kids through their families have had to decide by 10 that they're going to pursue hockey as a profession.
Yeah, that's true.
So they already know about the fitness, the time management.
They're not
all
going
this
to
kind of
McDonald's.
stuff. And we didn't get too much into this too, but if you went through COVID when you were 16 to 17, maybe that changes your expectations for how often you go out or you see your buddies.
I don't even think maybe. I think 100% it would have done that.
Right.
Like those are your main formative social years. And if you were just essentially forced or decided to stay home for 2 years, I mean, you know how easy it is to get sucked into something new, like a new trend in a new way. It's not easy. I think even having kids who would have been 5 and 3 up to 6 and 4 during the pandemic, like we don't go out as much as we did when they were 2, 3, 4. Like before. It's just you get used to staying at home, watching a movie, ordering in. And they enjoy that, right? So it's just kind of something that's happened.
Not Super Bowl night. We're going.
No, not Super Bowl night. Although Marshall did tell me, he goes, Daddy, I'm very sad you won't be here for Super Bowl.
I know.
I was like, I know.
You know
man.
what? Can I be honest?
He needs 9 more years so he can come to Century Casino.
I was going to have a dilemma, a serious dilemma, because if the Commanders got to the Super Bowl, I was going to have a conversation with you, because there's nobody I would want to. My family, we watch football together. And I would have said, Dustin, I love you. I love everything here, but I really got to be at home with my family.
You know what I would have said? I would have said, do it, Jay.
Yes. Yeah, for sure.
No, because look, if the Lions were in it and they won the Super Bowl,
you want to be there with
the first 3 people
kids,
I want to hug would be my wife and my kids. Yeah. Like simple as that.
No,
unless I got a chance to go to New Orleans and watch it myself. I'll see him when I get home the next day.
You're going somewhere soon.
We're going to Boston. Huss and I are going to Boston. Cool Bet text on Friday and said they've got a couple of spots left in this trip. So we're flying to Boston. We're going to be there Monday the 17th for the 2 games, 4 Nations, and then the final on Thursday.
Oh, you're staying that whole week?
We're staying for
Are you gonna
4 or 5
shows
days.
from there?
I'm going to try to.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we're going to look at the schedule of it and then see what the requirement is.
Early morning for you.
Well, no, it's 8 o'clock.
No, it's later.
It's later.
Yeah.
So it's actually much
the wrong
better.
way.
It's much better. So I'm hoping at least a couple of them are travel days, but hopefully Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I'll be able to do as many shows as possible.
So your front runner for the leader in points tonight for the EST staff meeting would be?
Oh, boy.
I wanted you to go.
Well, Gage has never been in one.
That's true.
Might be a couple
he's never been in one?
No, because
it's usually during their show.
Them so I guess Hernan hasn't either. So there could be some rookie points right off the top.
Yep.
So if they don't blow it, I have to probably pick one of those 2.
Or there could be rookie negatives too.
Yeah, we also have a pool going right now of what time Tommy arrives at said meeting.
Ooh.
Yeah, Maddie, what's the latest arrival time for Tommy in our pool? I got 5:58. I have him arriving slightly before on time.
Okay.
6:10. Who is 6:10? Oh, Maddie picked 6:10.
Well, we're starting without him then. Even though we're going until 6, like I'm ready to go. I can listen and participate as I'm shutting down here.
Yeah. This guy's ready to go.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go 5:52.
Wow, no chance. Zach, what's your guess?
6:01.
Ooh. 6:01.
And there's no going over.
Which I still don't understand. Say it again.
Like so if he goes 6:01.
It's not like the Price is Right rules.
Okay, yeah.
5:45.
How many meetings have you been in?
Well, there's not a lot
if
left
Tommy
to
walks
pick.
through that door in
nothing
6
left
minutes.
There's nothing left to pick between 5:50 and 6:10.
Yeah. So
we'll I might as well go early. Hey, you know what, Dustin? Portions of this hour brought to you by Canadian Brewhouse.
Yes.
It's your ultimate destination for events, parties, fundraisers, and more. You want to celebrate? Visit CanadianBrewhouse.com and book now.
Quick note, I'll ask you guys this because Patty from Brewhouse is bringing by 2 40-ounce steak dinners for Hernan and Gager next Tuesday.
Oh, really?
Would you want to eat one of those before your show? Because if you want, I'll have him bring in 4, but it's just kind of a bit
40-ounce steaks?
40-ounce steaks.
This is Tuesday?
Well, that's
Tuesday.
enough steak for me for a week.
Well, then you can take home the
in.
leftovers.
I'm in.
Well, I'll come to bring in 4.
Want it?
Yeah,
Zach, I'm talking to Jay and Reid right now.
He's just like, talk about.
You know what, though? He'll be doing the show. I'll tell him. I only told him to bring in 2, but I'll tell him to bring in 5 for you guys and, for you guys.
What's all in them?
I don't think I've seen a 40-ounce steak.
It's a huge steak, and is there like a Caesar salad? Or
yeah, I think there's probably mashed potatoes or something. So back in the day, Awanik and I were at the brew house, north side, and Maddie might not carry a lot of meat on him, but he ate.
I've heard he can put down
ate
food.
his 40-ounce steak, all the sides.
Oh my!
And then finished like half of mine because I couldn't eat like 20 ounces. And he's like, "You want me? You want to?" Like I'm like, "Go ahead."
I'll probably eat a third of it.
What's that? You ate the rest of my sides too? Wow. Well, I usually like sides. Why would I have not eaten the sides? Oh, yeah, of course. It was veggies. That's why I let him have them. So anyway, but yeah, if you guys want them, I'll have Patty bring in like 5.
It's like my dream.
Well, yeah.
I'm in.
I don't know. You guys can just take 2 hours to eat them over there before you come in.
Well, that's a good point. They're coming at 1?
They're going to come at 1.
Beautiful.
So they're going to eat them on air.
Yeah. We'll dabble in them a little bit.
Incredible.
Splash around.
So that'll be fun.
All right,
Thanks for coming in.
Thanks
Go get ready for the
thanks for
meeting.
hopping on.
Yeah,
really,
no, fun
really,
time.
really appreciate it, Dustin.
Somehow Penner's
Thanks, guys.
Pancakes had chimed in and said he heard you had got knocked out by Nuge.
I tweeted it.
Oh, did you?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
I was
I
wondering
tweet
how that
everything in
worked
my
out.
life.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
yeah, that happened.
Let's rally. If you haven't already thumbed up the show, let's see if we can still get to 150.
Is that when you get the word of the day?
Well, that's bonus. We're already at word of the day.
One word of the day.
Let's go for a late run here.
16 likes. So let's go.
Let's
Hammer
go.
that thumbs
Let's
up.
easy it.
Yeah.
We got
Easy
the Coob
peasy.
here with a sports update.
Right now, the Bruins and Sabres are tied at 1 apiece. The Hurricanes lead the Rangers 1-0. The Blackhawks trail the Lightning 1-0. And the Jets-Canadiens game has Montreal with the only goal, seeing all 4 games over halfway through the first period. After that, Washington visits Calgary. Vegas hosts Dallas. The Islanders challenge the Avs while the Ducks face the Kraken. And back in Edmonton, Borris Bede, veteran kicker, has been released by the Elks after hitting just over 78% of his field goals for the Double E last season. And just getting underway, it's the Lakers up 4 points on the 76ers early in the first, and the Rockets then tip off against the Hawks. Later, Milwaukee battles Portland, and the Jazz hit the court with the Warriors on a 4-game NBA slate. The final segment of the Reid Wilkins Show comes on the other side of the break. I'm Zachary Kubish for your sports update.
Get your fix every single game with the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame and postgame shows with Tom Gazzola and Hernan Salas. Whether it's breaking down the starting lineup, predicting key matchups, or diving deep into the game's biggest moments, Tom and Hernan are here to give you the best insight and analysis in the city. After the final horn, get the breakdown of every key moment, performance, and player reactions. It's your one-stop shop for all things game day. Catch the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame and postgame shows with Tom Gazzola and Hernan Salas, only on Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton sports.
Food Sausages makes their meat with nothing but the best local ingredients. From chicken, beef, and pork, their gluten-free sausages are packed with flavor. Every single bite. Get a 10% discount when mentioning Edmonton Sports Talk in-store or use the code EST when shopping online at foodsausages.ca. Plus, you get free delivery on orders of $100 or more. Find them at 6736 99th Street. Food Sausages. You can't beat our meat.
Hi there. If you're like me, you like to picture yourself in luxury, even though there's absolutely no way you can afford it. And if you can, well, even better. Thankfully, I picture myself in something that is luxury, but still absolutely affordable, like the all-new Mazda CX-90 from Park Mazda. With the new luxury features like facial recognition settings and quilted detail Napa leather seating, I can pretend to be comfortable with all of my proper settings activated without even touching a button, thanks to Mitch Lewicki and the great staff at Park Mazda. I like to picture Mitch Lewicki as a ninja fighting off evil samurai.
Park Mazda, your dealer for life in Sherwood Park off Y Road, parkmazda.ca.
Your brand deserves more than just a whisper, it deserves a buzz. At the Hive Product Marketing, they specialize in promotional products that bring the buzz. From eye-catching giveaways to unforgettable keepsakes, they got the perfect products to make your brand stand out and get noticed. Visit the Hive Product Marketing and let them create the buzz your business deserves. The Hive Product Marketing, the official merch partner of Edmonton Sports Talk. Visit them online at thehiveproductmarketing.com.
All right, thanks a lot for tuning in this afternoon. We're with you until 6 o'clock-ish. Then we got our staff meeting here at Edmonton Sports Talk, along with Jay Milne. I'm Reid Wilkins, Zachary Kubish, along for the ride, as well as our technical producer and sports update deliverer. You are going to get, what do we have to do here? Oh, yeah, the River Cree inbox. Did I do one more? Afternoon inbox, 780-218-9999, presented by River Cree Resort and Casino, featuring Italia Restaurant, home of the $6.99 brunch special from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Sundays. What's going on, Jay?
Oh, just a funny comment here by Jen Cool. Good to hear from you, Jen. Reid saying the steak is so big he will have leftovers and yet asking about sides.
Well, right, because I'm not going to eat just, even if I know I'm not going to finish the steak.
I just want to see a 40-ounce steak.
I'm not going to just eat the steak.
Like,
and as people might know, I'm not a huge fan of mashed potatoes.
Reid, I want you to show me with your hands how big you think a 40-ounce steak is.
This is like an anaconda taking down a pig.
Heck yeah.
It would be, I'd say it would be
I'm saying
almost like two
this.
dinner plates, quite frankly.
No, like that big? I'm saying more like...
Well, certainly a dinner plate.
I'm just so excited. I didn't.
But why? I guess I find myself questioning even the existence of a 40-ounce steak served for one individual to possibly eat in one sitting. It's impossible.
Well, the brew house does it as, an event. So it's a night out. And just for so you know, there is mashed potatoes and gravy and side veggies and garlic bread. It's the thing. It's 40-ounce steak night. My brother-in-law, I think, he texted me. There's a 40-ounce steak right there for you. Look at that.
Oh, so I was forgetting about the thickness. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. It's got girth, not only size but girth. Reid.
That's incredible.
My brother-in-law invited me because he's doing it as a fundraiser for my niece's handball team. Now that's the day of our fun spiel, so I can't go. But I think there is a fundraising element to it at times too, like a team building event. If those even exist anymore. You know what I mean?
Right.
So where are we here? What have we done? Have we gotten close to 150? We're 9 away. Let's get to 150.
We got to do first, though, the game of the night.
Yeah.
For Play More tables and games, from ping pong and pool tables to darts and dome hockey, plus all the classic arcade action you could ask for. Visit Canada's Game Room experts, locations in Edmonton and Calgary, or online at playmoregames.ca. Can we hear Dusty?
I got to get used to this thing.
It's not there. That's okay.
Well, I had to move it around, but, finish the end of the line. Finish the end of the line.
Locations in Edmonton and Calgary or online at playmoregames.ca.
Play more tables and games.
You know what Dustin's doing right now?
What?
More tables and games.
Yeah, he's using the classic arcade machine provided by. My game of the night will be, I'll go Stars Golden Knights playing again. I'll also go Capitals Flames playing at 7 o'clock.
Yeah, I got to take that too, Reid. That's just it's a big game. And I mean, obviously for Oilers fans, they're going to be watching this teeter-totter between the Golden Knights and the Oilers is going to be going on for quite a while. It would be nice to be able, as Oilers fans, to have some separation there. But, I guess, it depends what happens on the other side as well. But it's a fantastic race. Whether the Oilers pull it out and finish first in the Pacific, I don't know. Do you think they will?
Yes.
You think that you can confidently say they will?
Yeah, I think they
Vegas has not been that great as of late.
No, they haven't.
I think they're 3-6-1 in their last 10.
Everybody has a rough patch, just how long it lasts and how bad it is. All right, so those are our games of the night for Play More tables and games. We are at 144 thumbs. We got to get 6 more to get to a second word of the day. So for now, we will do one word of the day, Jay. Oh, we got the theme?
The word of the day.
There it is.
With Reid and Jay.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I break your concentration?
What do they got to say?
Say what again? Say what again? I dare you.
Let's find out.
English, do you speak it? Then you know what I'm saying.
Thanks, Samuel. Appreciate it. Thanks for coming in.
We really do appreciate him being a part of the show.
Yeah, he delivers it the same way every day. That's how talented he is.
Well, he's a professional.
He's a pro. He's a great actor.
Okay, so the word of the day. This is the first word. I do have 2. I have one ready to go. This is a trick question, Reid. Sword. Now, I will tell you this. It is not spelt the way you think it's spelled.
So it's not a sword as in a metallic fighting instrument.
No.
Sword. So it's some other type of word. Wow, this is a
and
good
it's
one.
Not spelt.
Right, so it's not SWORD.
Sword.
Oh my God!
So I will say sword. SORED. There's the root beer on the tuba.
Sword.
Okay, let me try another one. Let me try another spelling.
Okay.
Does it start with an S? Okay, so Sword. What else could it be?
Well, let's go in order. S what?
O.
No. S like S.
W. Well, there is
This
still
is the trick part. It's the next letter. It's also a vowel.
So it's not an O.
No, but it's also a vowel.
Why? Well, you said it's. You're just tormenting me now.
This is bad now.
SWA.
Then it's the same.
RD.
You got it.
And it's pronounced sword.
It's pronounced sword. It's a noun.
Okay.
Now go for the definition.
Oh, man. This is tough. I don't even know where to begin. This is a noun involving... this is sort of like something... It's sort of like a moat or a dam, perhaps. It's something that keeps water or collects water in a certain area.
Very, very good guess, Reid. That does not, but I
It's
appreciate
still
it.
wrong.
I appreciate it. A sword is a literary word that refers to an area of land covered with grass.
A literary word that refers to an area of land covered in grass.
The hikers emerged from the forest to find a green sword dotted with yellow and purple flowers stretching out before them.
Oh, that is fascinating. I don't know if I've ever seen that in writing.
It's a real mind tease, that one. I didn't know to believe it. I had to go and while you were out, I actually put the actual, you can press a button and it pronunciates it for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had to do that.
And it's actually pronounced. Oh, there it is.
There it is.
There it is. Who did that? Was that you, Coop?
That was the Coob.
Oh, that was good, Coop. That was
So
really good.
we're close enough. We're 146. I've got the other word of the
We're
day.
going to do the other word, even though we didn't get there.
We got to get out
We'll
of here.
probably get to 150 after.
I think
live.
we're going to get there before you even finish answering this, Reid, because
Okay, we
those
gotta
that
get to
haven't
150. Hit the thumbs. Hit the thumbs.
hit the thumbs.
Tell your friends to hit the thumb.
The second word of the day, divulgate.
DIVULGATE. So die usually means to or to split. No, to divulge is to reveal something or share something. So I'll say that this is something about. This has something to do with sharing or giving out portions of something.
Very close, Reid.
But still got the root beer.
Yeah,
Root
you got
beer.
it. It's just such a hit. Divulgate, to make publicly known or to publish.
Oh, okay. It's quite easy.
The whistleblower chose to divulgate the evidence despite potential repercussions. Oh, I think you're closest. I think Reid's closest. Tommy has arrived. Tom is in the building.
What did I said 5:45, didn't I?
Maybe I'm right.
I don't know. There's Tom. He's here. He's got a backpack.
I think I said
He's looking
5:56.
great.
I bet you I'm closest.
Looking good. All right. I think we're going to check out a little bit early today because we got the staff meeting and we want to get it going at 6 or even a little bit if we can and help our colleagues get back to their evenings. Because this one's kind of more to, not to accommodate us, but it's just, we didn't have to leave and come back like some people did.
That's true.
Really appreciate the discussion today. It was a fun show. Thanks to Tyler Palmer from the Golden Bears hockey team and last night from the Oilers for hopping on. And thanks to Dan Robson as well, co-writer of a piece on The Athletic along with Joshua Cloak called In the NHL, Boozing is Out. Edible cannabis and video games are in. There's a link in the YouTube description to the show. We're back at 3 tomorrow afternoon for another edition of the Reid Wilkins Show. Jay Onright is scheduled to join us, and our live programming resumes at 6 a.m. with the Nielson Show. On behalf of Zachary Kubish and Jay Milne, the glue guy, I'm Reid. Have a good night.
Sports Talk delivers a mass audience of key influential customers to your business, all while you associate your company brand with the biggest names, the hottest sports news, and teams from every league around the globe. Oilers and Elks, NHL, NFL, Major League Baseball, and the association, Formula One, soccer, golf. Oh, sweet mama! The excitement is palatable on Edmonton Sports Talk. It's where fans go to get their sports fix and where our partners find the most loyal consumers. Contact us today and see how our team on Edmonton Sports
Sports Talk can score the biggest goals for your business. With various advertising options available, email business@edmontonsportstalk.com or head to our website and send a message at edmontonsportstalk.com.